Zoom.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to costumeco. We're here to do a live stream about Andor Season 2. This is called a mid-season roundup, although we're technically 3/4 of the season through, so it's not technically mid-season. But this was our first opportunity to get together. Now, everyone, before we get going, I'm just going to introduce my two co-hosts tonight. we got Ro from Scariff Podcast, and we've got Justin from Top Shelf Edits. Justin, do you want to start by saying hello and doing a little intro?
Hi, everybody. Just here. I'm Heidi's editor. I edit for a lot of other people, and I'm happy here. I've never met Ro before, but I'm a big fan of his work and a big fan of Andor. I really like this show, so it's a show that I'm not going to be annoying about because I truly like it and I truly enjoy it. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh, that's a short, sweet intro. Okay, what about you, Ro?
Yeah, I'm Ro from the Scariff Scuttlebutt podcast. Heidi, it's cool. It's cool to come back and just talk about some geeky stuff. We're going to do that tonight, and I've got some questions and observations for you. And I know we usually get together to talk some auction block material and props and things like that, but this will be kind of fun too.
Absolutely, and actually, Ro, I'm really happy to have you here because I was saying to Justin before we started that, I'm a huge lover of Star Wars properties and stuff, but I'm not as into, like, say, the animated series or some of the lore. So I'm really happy to have you here to put everything into perspective. But anyway,
we'll set you straight. All
right, cool. Okay, but I know Justin just watched the last 3 episodes, today. Yeah. I watched them just I think I split it up over 2 days. Ro, did you just watch it obviously when it came out, I guess?
Yeah, I can't split it up. It's like a mini movie event for me. So I'll launch the Disney app and grab my popcorn and my sunscreen because it's always sunny on Scariff.
Absolutely. Okay, so now because we've just all watched the last 3 installments, the last installment of 3, I should say, the triad. I just want to get your hot takes right away. So, Ro, hot take on the show so far.
When I watched it, I posted right away. I said it's too bad that Star Wars will never reach the epicness of these 3 episodes. Star Wars will never be as good as it is right now.
Wow. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I would say that. So I'll be a conflicting perspective here, as I always am a little bit of a hyper, like a little bit of hypocrite here. I think that I feel this season is a little slow, so I think it was smart they released it in 3 episode blocks. I think that it wouldn't have done well if it would have been just 1 episode at a time. I think we need these 3 episodes. But that being said, I think they messed up, and we could have got 4 or 5 seasons of this, and they could have not skipped these years as we're doing in season 2. And I think that we could have, I know it's a contract thing and it would have been hard to get these actors, but we could have slow, ran this a little bit, instead of speed running it. And I think we could have, I would have watched 5 episodes of Andor and not had the year jumps and stuff like that. But
this was slated for 5 seasons, but Gilroy and Cassian Andor, Diego Luna said, I don't think we can devote the next 10 years of our lives. I don't want to be away from my family. So they kind of split it up and did a fast track.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. That adds up. I say after lives and do it anyways, but yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. But given that, I mean, I think this was, because I saw an interview with Tony where he was speaking about how he decided when they came up with the concept of, hey, why don't we just do it a year for 3 episodes, 4 blocks of 3 episodes, a year has passed. And then I guess it will take us right up until we get to
Rogue One,
the movie, right?
Yeah. Rogue One will be season 3.
Rogue One, yeah, which I'm going to watch. By the way, I think I'm going to watch it this week, and now I'm like, I have to go and watch it now to see.
Have you never seen
all
it?
The dots connect. So anyway, so that was.
You've never seen Rogue One? Sorry, you've never seen Rogue One?
Oh no, I have. I just want to. Okay. I want to rewatch it. Yeah,
yeah. Me too. Sorry.
Okay. Well, personally speaking, I know. Ro, what do you think about this? Like Justin was mentioning this earlier, that the idea of Andor being like an adult show versus, say, I don't know, like The Mandalorian. I mean, although The Mandalorian's somewhat adult too. Like, what do you think about that whole concept about the movies being for kids versus these series are being more adult-like or dark?
The franchise in about 2 years, it's going to be 50 years old. And there is a lot of Star Wars out there, from the movies, the standalones, the trilogies, the TV shows, the games, the comic books. There's a lot out there. So I feel like it's okay to have Star Wars cater to a certain age group, a certain audience. And I think, when people say, oh, Star Wars is for everyone, I think for the most part, yeah, that's true. But I think, there are older fans like myself that are craving for someone to take the source material seriously. And I think Gilroy did exactly that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Justin?
Yeah, exactly. I think that the perspective of a child is the Empire is bad. So then that's the movies and that's the cartoons, Rebels and Clone Wars. With Clone Wars is dear to my heart. Even I'm a half Filoni fan, half not. I think you should stick to cartoons or animation, but that's for another day. But I think that in Andor, we had this, a little bit of issues with people with the sexual assault and all that shouldn't be in Star. Well, you know what? Because the Empire is bad. Why are they bad? Okay, in any one of these situations where you've had this totalitarian or authoritarian or this fascist upbringing, this uprising, that has been. I mean, Gilroy had a much more like poetic. He says we're all children of sexual abuse and all that, or sexual assault per se. And I think that is truth to that. I would just have put it up like this is. I think it was fine to put it in there. I think that this is your adult Star Wars, and this is the Empire is bad, and they show you why it's bad, on not just a pew pew reason, on a mental side, on the way they don't just take over your brain, but they want to take possession of your bodies. And I think that they did it right. I think that they didn't go overboard. And then people complain about stuff like that. It makes me sick because I think they're hypocrites. And I think that Andor is. If you don't like adult Star Wars, this is the best Star Wars we've had, in my opinion, ever. You don't deserve it if you don't like it. Get the F out. That's not anybody, these guys saying it. That's me saying it. Get out. I'm sick of these creators that are like, oh no, I can't, but they like Ahsoka or they like the Acolyte. It's like, just if you don't like it, you don't like it, but you're obviously not into anything that's for adults. It's for adults. It is for adults. It's fine. Just, you can walk out stage left. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's sort of really interesting because like when I was 10 when I saw Star Wars, the original, A New Hope, and and then I'm in my 50s, and so I've kind of there's this whole arc of watching all of these properties as it's sort of like goalposts in my life almost, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, I used to say this sort of about Tom Cruise. Like Tom Cruise was aging with me, so as he aged with me, he would take on more mature roles. So when he was young, he would do like Risky Business or all the right moves, or I don't know if that's his movie actually, or what's another movie that he did when he was young? Taps. Mm-hmm. Cocktail, yeah. And then as he's gotten older, his roles have become more mature, and he sometimes even more artistic. Like I was even saying the other day, it'd be really interesting if he decided to do an art film at this stage now, maybe in his life. Mm-hmm. So it sort of feels like that with Star Wars for me, that it is growing and evolving as well as the fandom gets older, as people like Filoni, or I was going to say, who's the one who does The Mandalorian? He's a
John Favreau.
John Favreau. Right. He's probably around our age, older than you, Justin, but probably close to my age. So, he's obviously grown up as a child. So loving the property. And then he may want to be like, hey, I want to tell like a Western, but with a Star Wars feel to it, or whatever. And honestly, like, George Lucas was inspired by all of these different types of genres, like the spaghetti Western, or like Kurosawa, or like fascism, like, telling a story about, he wanted to tell, let's say, Hitler, not a Hitler story, sorry, a World War II type story, but using
Vietnam, both of them.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think of that sort of idea, Ro, about maybe the properties are sort of growing along with us as we get older?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly makes sense. I mean, when Rebels came out, the animated series, it was a little kiddie, but obviously it was done like that on purpose to draw in that audience. But the animated shows are multiple seasons, and the audiences, they understand that the audiences are growing. along with that. So it makes sense that the stories also evolve as our sensibilities evolve, and I think it's ridiculous to think that fans want to stay in that space forever. It just doesn't make sense. And I think Andor, definitely captures the ability to have the franchise grow in a way that the audience is growing from a more mature perspective. We still have properties like the Young Jedi Adventures that are definitely for little kids and things that go in that route. But the ability to kind of showcase stories in a way that interests folks, older folks and older audiences have to have a place in Star Wars, and they have to have a place in all media for that media to grow. I posted up in the chat just now, I've always asked other folks, what must the franchise do to survive the next 50 years? And I think we're getting kind of a preview of what it has to do, because we're getting older, and I think the stories have to be more evolved in maturity and scope and seriousness.
Yeah, when people say things like, I think really, really well said, Ro. When people say, "Oh, what's with all the politics in Star Wars?" What they mean is, I don't remember all the politics that were in Star Wars. Because they've always been there, especially in the prequels. Trade tariffs, come on, this is like the little Ewoks, they're Viet Cong pretty much. I mean, like, it's just a surface level. Like, George always tells a story on a surface level, meaning it's like pretty much all taken in visually, and it's very simplistic. And then they take these like you cited those stories about the Jedi Adventures. They do a really cool period called the Old Republic, which I think is a good medium to tell that story through. And there's room for it all. So it's like, like these politics have always been there, and Andor is an adult show that is exploring them. So they've always been there, very much so. Read the opener, the crawl to the Phantom Menace. It is literally, sadly, what's happening right now. You know what I mean? And I think it tends to be people that they don't like it because it's not lining up with their politics. Sadly enough. So
and I get annoyed, go ahead.
Oh, so right. I just want to say hi to LL of Darkwater, who says, "I'll never quite look at the Empire the same again."
Yeah.
Should I get rid of my hat? Should I change my hat?
And then Natural Selection says, "Hello, hi, Natural." Sorry, go ahead, Ro. I just want to do
and I get annoyed at some of those fans that say, "Oh my God, Star Wars is so political." It's like, do you not remember 1977? I mean, most of them, I will say, most of them don't remember 1977, because I hear there's a lot of people online that their first experience in Star Wars was watching the special editions in '99. So that I'll give them that. Okay, whatever. But it's like any science fiction in general, not Star Wars or whatever, just anything science fiction, it allows us to see society in a different lens and examine the politics of society. It examines the existence of ourselves and how we relate to society in a way that is easily absorbed through the media of science fiction stories. Yeah. Whether it's Mary Shelley or Gene Roddenberry, science fiction has this innate ability to look at ourselves in a way that no other media has.
Yeah, and Andor happens to be, I'll just say really quick, the first series that in a long time that doesn't require you to read extra content to make it good. Like the prequels, the book for Revenge of the Sith is really good. Like I have it on audiobook. Like and there's like extra curricular like content like that to consume that you can make them good. And it's like they're really not good standalone. A lot of the stuff is not good. Clone Wars fleshes out a lot of the prequels and makes the prequels better to watch after you've seen the cartoon Clone Wars. Rebels does the same thing. And Andor is the first series in a long time to come along and just be good on its own. Which there's something to be said, because content shouldn't have to be, well, you shouldn't have to read the book. It should be good on its own. Even though I still like the prequels, I don't think they're the greatest movies to ever be made, and they still have a lot of flaws. And it does, but I do not mind squeezing the sponge per se and reading the extra content. But in my opinion, objectively, they're pretty bad films on their own, and it can only be truly appreciated once you do countless hours of other stuff, which is fun for somebody like me. But Andor doesn't require that. Andor's just good. It's
I
just
think
good.
actually you could probably watch Andor as a standalone show.
Yes, you could.
Without having, what do you think? Like, I think I was reading something like the people were feeling that because we don't really have the Jedi there. We don't never see the Emperor. And except for there was that one woman who possibly was force sensitive type thing, but it's sort of a side story. So I feel like it kind of stands on its own
Absolutely
without having
does.
to lean into.
Yeah.
That's what I like
Although
about
I
it.
mean, yeah, I
Go
mean,
ahead,
for
Rob.
years for years we hear that someone named the Emperor exists in the original Star Wars. We never saw him, but we get the connection. We know what an emperor is. We know, the political structure of that world in that case. So it's not like we had to go out and read 100 books to kind of understand the first Star Wars. And now it's different. I was just talking to somebody about the MCU. These movies are so interconnected. The stories are so woven into each other. Star Wars is at a very interesting phase in its life where, it is nice if you're like an uber nerd like me that understands, probably more than 90% of what's going on in whatever case. It is kind of rewarding to know like little nods. If you don't know like certain things, it's fine. You watch it and it is kind of self-contained. But when you kind of comprehend like the extra material and you kind of like it's like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where like he's pointing to the screen like, oh, I know what you're saying.
Yes.
So
exactly.
it's
I actually saw a Star Wars breakdown where she used that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of supplemental content, and I think if Disney really wanted to make money, what they would do and what fans want is they want a almost shot by shot remake of the Clone Wars with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, and I think it would do really well. Like that's the only thing that made Ahsoka bearable for people with stuff like that. I won't get into, but I wanted to talk about the Force really quick because you did say about Andor. So we have for the first time got, because I look at it as a person like Cassian would look at the Force as like a little bit of the religious side of like, it's a spirituality. So that woman that talks about dreams in this episode, that's like the first time we've had the Force kind of touch on this story so far, and I thought it was really cool because it kind of just was more like and there has been instances of people having dreams in Star Wars, kind of like weird dreams and stuff like that, without the conduit of like a tree, like Jamie needs to sleep on like a weird tree to have it happen. But there are dreamers in Star Wars, and there are things that come in dreams, and it is really cool. So I think that it's cool that Gilroy is putting a little bit of that into that, and I think it's great. Obviously in Rogue One you get a little bit more of the Force as well. So.
I was going to say, when we were talking about politics earlier, I wanted to bring about that. Actually, I rewatched THX 1138 probably a couple of months ago. For anybody who hasn't seen it, it's an amazing movie. So it was 71, so like 6 years before Star Wars, but it's about a totalitarian society as well. And I think George did it right out of film school. I think probably maybe before American Graffiti, which is a little more of a popular type movie. And that was
actually a remake of one of his college films, which was also THX 1138.
Okay.
When him and Francis Ford Coppola started their production company, that was one of the first films that they tackled.
Yeah, I think the school somehow supported it still. The film.
Yeah, and one of my favorite songs, because we were talking about Toto, I was talking on a live stream recently where Toto did the music for Dune, like the David Lynch Dune. But anyway, they have a song called 99, which is a nod to THX. I don't know if anyone knows that. And in the video, they're all wearing white outfits, just like in.
Oh, yeah.
So if anyone's a Toto fan.
I don't know.
But sorry, I had a point. Well, okay, carry on, and then it'll probably come back to me.
Oh, and that's not the only Toto connection to Star Wars. I think.
The son.
Right.
George Lucas, John Williams' son.
He wrote the lyrics to the Return of the Jedi song "Lapti Nek."
Yes. So is it is it Brian Williams? Anyway, he was one of the major vocalists in Toto. And I was like, I didn't know at first when I was kind of like following them that he was actually John Williams' son. And then I guess he worked on the original trilogy.
Right.
And there's also Toto 360 that is a little droid from the Clone Wars, but it's Toto. It's
Oh no, that's so
T-O-D-O.
cool. Like Toto is probably from the Wizard of Oz. Well, I mean, the band's named after Toto from the Wizard of Oz.
And
So.
he blesses those rains down in Africa all day long.
Yeah. So now, sorry, let me read a few of these comments. So Ella says, I was gifted a Death Star popcorn bucket today. I haven't seen that. That must be really neat. It's extremely cool. But thinking of a planet being destroyed for energy to construct it and prison labor to build it did make me think. Yeah. And the Natural says, I've watched a lot of Star Wars stuff, and I have to say it's always been bad. It's a B movie plot with the best visuals they had at the time. George Lucas isn't a great writer or director. Well, I
agree.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great editor.
Well, he put his editors through hell with the way they edit those shots. Like a lot of shots of the prequels are like spliced together in 3 different ways. It'll be like he'll be like, oh, I like Ewan's performance in this shot, and I like Natalie's in this one, and he's got like there's 3 shots spliced, and he's always pushing. He is a visual genius, and Star Wars is always, like I've said, it's been something to be visually consumed that you could turn off or just listen to the music and the sound effects, and you should be able to get. That's why you can like get through the I'm so in love with you, and it's like because you're whatever blah blah, like those like bumpy lines, because like but you see this like the Romeo and Juliet like esque Shakespearean setting. You see the clothing, the costumes, right, through a visual eye, and you get what's going on in that scene. He has been like somebody that has not really cared that much about. Like Harrison Ford famously said, somebody has to actually say this shit that you're writing, George. The paraphrasing. But, like George has never been a great dialogue writer, but that's not how he's really looked at film. So, like, I think he's earned that per se. Like, and I think other people, I don't know. I think that there's no savior to Star Wars. Gilroy doesn't even like it, supposedly. And he's made the best Star Wars. And Filoni, I love him and then hate him because, some of his stuff is the best that you've seen and some of it is utter crap. And he sometimes saves legends and then he also craps on it. There's no winning because you're always taking somebody else's opinion and their perspective of Star Wars and putting it on there. And you always need to keep that in mind, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, and being kind, if possible, to these people, because it's never 100% what it is. If you want 100% George Lucas Star Wars, I don't. I'm going to say it right off the bat. I don't. I don't want that. I think my liking of Andor proves that. Yeah.
Well, I think
I appreciate
100%. Yeah, I think 100% George Lucas Star Wars were the prequels. He wrote his own check. He wrote his own check. He produced it on his own. He didn't have yes men behind him. Like you said, Justin, there's a couple things that could have been changed. But
and Roger, and Roger Christian told me that a lot of people didn't support him. They didn't stick by him. He only had a handful of people who really stuck by him, like Roger included. And there's like Roger's telling me all these stories about the studio. Like there's always so much conflict that happens when you're trying to do this. My attitude is it's kind of like M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, whatever people call M. Night Shyamalan. People will always say, oh, his movies are trash. And I always say, yeah, but he went for it. Like he did it. Sure. Like, you can say whatever you want about him. I feel sort of the same with George. Like George was like, he put himself in the hospital for this.
Yeah. He gave us such a gift is what I'm saying. And I never would want to take that back, but I don't want more from him. I think what he gave was good enough. And I think George always pressed the issue of just because you can with the technology, should you? He pushed that.
He did pass the torch.
He did. He should have. And now went to Disney, which isn't great. But Gilroy. So it's like, again, it's like, I don't disrespect George, but I don't want 100% George stuff anymore because George made the stories and now people can climb off those shoulders and take it. People like Gilroy, who arguably doesn't really even like Star Wars, and he's made some of the best Star Wars. So I like different people. I like new stories too, by the way. Everything doesn't need to be Star Wars, by the way. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I get so mad about this argument with Andor that I wish they wouldn't even have made it Star Wars, to be honest with you, even though I love Star Wars, because it's so divisive, this whole fandom. I think people are so ungrateful, and I think they lie to themselves about what they want to. I want George. No, you don't. You don't want 100% George back either.
It was funny because there was on the weekend, I think it was on the weekend, like a particular president did an AI of himself as a Jedi holding a red lightsaber.
Oh, it's Trump. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't.
People did it.
Yeah. He said his people did it. I'm sure he was standing over them. But anyway, it was just sort of like
tweeted it.
Yeah, and he did, and then he also did the Pope, right? And so it was so funny because Stephen Colbert said that he he managed to piss off two religions. He pissed
Yeah.
off the Catholic religion and the Jedi religion.
Right.
And
That's
I
funny.
thought that was sort of interesting. But I mean, it's kind of like it sort of reminds me of the rebellion. You're going to get all kinds of different types of people in the rebellion, and they're not all going to agree with each other, which is one of the things I love about the show, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that with the fandom. I mean, the fandom, you're going to have your radicals, and you're going to have your
Sure.
rapscallions, and your ne'er-do-wells, or whatever you want to call them. Not everyone's going to be happy.
No, never. I forget the phrase, but it means there's too many opinions, and not that everybody shouldn't have one, but everybody maybe shouldn't have one. Like, there's just so many opinions out there, and it doesn't do anybody any good. It's like everybody wakes up and they're like, what is my stance on this? And it doesn't necessarily make the world any better. It almost makes it work. I'm not saying people shouldn't have a voice, but it's too much. It's too much, and there's too many people that until it suits them, they like something. And then, it's just like, I've seen so many people that are just such hypocrites, especially with the essay, the sexual abuse and all this. If this was a different political side complaining about that, they'd tell them to go cry more and call them snowflakes. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
I think you have to curate the I always go back to when Luke and Yoda were on Dagobah, and Luke sees the tree, and he asks Yoda, what will I find in there? And Yoda says, only what you take with. And I think that's how our experiences, especially on social media, should be taken. It's like, what do I get in? What am I getting out of this? It's only what you get in. I think you have to curate your experience on social media to be able to kind of, trust the voices that you trust, and kind of dismiss the other voices that just don't make sense. We understand, being on social media, that some of the voices of critiques are unbelievable, discredited, and have a single agenda, just to mine interaction, because they are monetized on one side or another.
Yeah.
And I think it's unfortunate. And I think, like I said, I think we should be able to kind of curate our own thought bubble, and not being in an actual thought bubble, but I'm Mexican, I'm liberal, and I follow all kinds of people. Everybody has opinions, and I'll respect them until you cross that line in some reason.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Star Wars, everybody's got an opinion. I mean, it's like religion and politics, man. It's strong.
Crazy.
And it's one of those things that, I say this on my podcast: if you cut me, I bleed Star Wars. But it's because George has created this incredible universe, obviously along with everybody that kind of helped him along the way. But he's the creator of Star Wars. He's the author of this franchise that we love so much, and it means a lot to us.
Yeah.
And I think this is why we get so passionate and personal. This is why we get pissed off when Luke Skywalker throws a lightsaber over his shoulder as if nothing.
Yeah.
This is why we are passionate about it. And it's good to be passionate, but I think we also have to temper our passion with logic sometimes. And sometimes people get a little too crazy. We have to kind of police ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. Like, there's an argument, like, because I'm with you. I watch some far right stuff of people that I think sometimes have good takes, but then I see them, then you see when their politics consume them, and they go against what I think is good storytelling, and they just will hate good story. My thing is it a good story? That's all I care about. I don't care about the politics of it. But I saw people on the right and people on the left both have good takes, and I watch both types of channels. I see both get consumed, and I'll stop subscribing, and I'll stop watching them for a while. But there's an argument I was telling Heidi about bricks and screws with the first, and I am so now so I think that you shouldn't totally dismiss Andor because of it, but Star Wars Theory was like up in arms about it. But I do think it's a fair critique that if you're going to take Star Wars, you should be true to Star Wars, okay? Like, and try and not, you can't use it and say, oh, that's a silly thing. It's like, okay, I think that Gilroy could have handled that better and been like, I didn't know that. Get what I mean? And respect it. Like, it's not a reason to say it's trash, but it's like, if you are working off like Star Wars and you didn't just make your own story, you are using the name Star Wars in the world. If you do make a mistake like that, I don't think it ruins it in any way, right? I think that like that whole jail setting was needed, and I think it really added a lot to the story. I don't think it's I think it's one of those things you'd be equally foolish to be guided by like stuff like that, and also foolish to dismiss it completely. You should be respectful of it because you are in somebody else's story, like I said. But again, I think a lot of people think I think a lot of people don't know what they like. to be honest with you. Again, like I think it's Andor shows you that. Andor shows you, and I don't either. Sometimes things surprise me. So it is.
I was going to say that about a month ago, I had Hack's Dogma on to chat about what were we chatting about? We were chatting. What was it?
Severance.
Severance says, yes, thank you. And we were talking about the year ahead, and I said, there's nothing really coming up down the pipe that I was like really excited about. Of course, I forgot about Andor. And then, so this has sort of reinvigorated me because I was like, after Severance, I was like, I don't know, there's nothing really I have to look forward to. So when I watch this, I have to tell you, like, half the time when I'm at nighttime, if I'm watching a show, I'm super tired and everything. I was like on the seat, like I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
I was like, so despite like, even if it has all of the hallmarks of Star Wars or all of the proper notes in there or, correct lore, it is a super compelling story. Like it is so compelling. Like the opening episode with Andor getting into the TIE fighter that he didn't know how to use. Like when he walks in and he's like, what the hell? There's no seat. There's no controls. What the fuck is going on here? I was like, this is really good storytelling. And I really enjoyed it. And also just like, I felt so nervous for that girl, the one who was helping him. It was obviously her first time. And he
what
had
a great
to, like,
performance for her.
Oh my God. She was amazing. And I was worried. I was worried for her. Yeah. I was actually worried. I'm like, are they gonna capture her? Are they gonna torture her? Or like, but the other thing that I loved about this series, aside from all of the amazing storytelling and the action, is it really, like, as much as people don't like it being a political story, how great is it that we have these wonderfully gray characters?
Yes.
It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me, like Walter White. I mean, is Walter White a good guy? No. But is he a complex individual? Is he flawed? Does he have like nuance? Yes. And I love that for these characters on both the Rebel side and on the Imperial side. So what do you guys all think about that?
Well, about the Starfighter, like, again, this story makes watching everything should supplement each other. So when you watch the movies again, like, okay, so the Starfighter seemed like a joke, like in some of the old movies, right? But no, when you see this, like the sound of the Starfighter coming above them, it grounds you again. It grounds you as a regular person living in this world, why you would be afraid of the Empire. When you don't see a Jedi just slicing through a million people. And there's nothing wrong with that, too. I love me some Jedi slicing through people. I love that, too. I've got a bunch of Jedi figures. I like both. I've dipped my hands in all of them. I think there's a place for all of it. So this is so great, like you said. And Cassian being so grounded and him knowing that she is putting her life and she could die for this. He goes, no, you've got a right to ask me questions, because she keeps saying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be asking it. He goes, no, ask me, because you made the sacrifice. And it's so compelling. It's so character driven, and it's so well written. Like, that's why I said it could be anything, but it's so much beautiful that it's in Star Wars. And I think Star Wars fans should be very thankful that next time they watch like a movie, even if it's one of the newer movies that I don't much care for, a Starfighter might be a little bit more intimidating to you. Because of this, and therefore, you're seeing it from the ground up. Like, it's like, oh, why are these people so afraid? It's hard to be afraid when Liam Neeson and Obi-Wan are just chopping through everybody, but it's pretty easy to be afraid of them when you see, first off, William. Can we get into William a little bit with that guy and his sexual libido getting everybody killed constantly? A girl on every planet. Yeah. My God, that guy.
I know. I said to Jack, I was like, sorry, does he have another girlfriend? What is going on here?
Every time he's fucking everybody over. That guy, I'm not for it, but
I gotta go back.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, and he oversleeps them, like at the end, the last episode, he oversleeps them, like, like making it so Cassian can't, they put the dome up or whatever. He oversleeps because he's with some girl. And it's like, man, I mean, I respect the game, but like, Jesus, kid, get your stuff together. I mean, you're getting people killed.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
Well, he's in the rebellion, so.
Well, actually, he's both.
Yeah, well, he's getting people killed. Go ahead, Ro.
No, what you said, Heidi, regarding the morally gray characters on both sides, and I think this is one argument that I've seen some people as a critique to Andor and some of the newer Star Wars, how you had a clear definition of good and evil in the original Star Wars, and I think this is one of the things that is contentious among some of the older fans versus newer fans. The ability to differentiate good versus evil and how all the lines are blurring. But I think I guess I'm a little on the fence about why that's a problem. I think it's more realistic sometimes, and I think it makes for better storytelling. We've got characters like Saw Gerrera, who is a revolutionary. We know his history, losing his sister because of an accident when the Republic was involved.
And you would only know that, not to interrupt, but Heidi would only know that if she sees the Clone Wars.
Exactly.
Go ahead. Sorry,
it's these character motivations that make these personas so interesting. It's the motivations behind their actions. You've got, obviously, Cassian Andor was introduced in Rogue One. He was sent off to kill Jyn Erso's father just to be safe, just to be on the safe side. We don't want this Death Star coming fully operational. So it's those little things, I think, within a larger story that is intriguing to me. I think a blatant line of black and white is a little on the boring side. And I know maybe when we were 7, 8 years old, that's how we saw the world. But as we get older, again, these things changes. We've got Saw Gerreras in our world. We've got Mon Mothmas in our world. And it's interesting to see them from that perspective.
And like, too, I want to add on to that. So imagine you got Walter White, but you didn't get the teacher Walter White. You got him after he's already a meth kingpin. Imagine you got Rambo and you didn't know he was in Vietnam, right? Okay, so that's what I see these characters as, because George does write pretty black and white. So the base for all these characters are good and evil, or not, they're good and bad. Bad, evil or good. One or the other. Black or white. And I think we are getting like the nuances to it. And that's what a show like this does. Even the Clone Wars does that to an extent. Like, and I have a lore question for Ro here in a minute, because I was a little bit confused with what they were breathing in, with what William was breathing in. What was that he was breathing in?
Noxious gas.
What is that? What does that do?
It's actually the byproduct of the propellant in the weapon systems.
So what is that? Because he's like, come on, get lit with me, pretty much. Like, breathe in the rebellion.
Yeah.
So like huffing, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, we wonder for a long time, like, why is Saw so nuts? Why is he so crazy? And I think this gives us kind of a little bit of a hint, besides the obsession of getting revenge from his sister against anybody, Empire, Republic, Jedi, who cares? He just wants revenge. But now we get a little bit of a taste of like why he's so twisted. He's got that line, this wonderful line that says, wars are not for the sane. And it's fascinating. I mean, again, just a little kudos to the writing of this team here. So that's what that's for.
Breathe in the insanity, embrace it. Because also, so you have both sides too. Because you have Saw, who's like, he's a means to an end. He's not a perfect guy either. Like, rebels use him knowing that he is like a means to an end. And also you have people like Cyril and Deidre, like, too, like they are gray for the bad. Like, which I was very surprised to see. I think the Cyril is one. I think, if we can jump to it, when Cassian says to him, "Who are you?" is the perfect moment in this series, because that is, and then he dies. Man, that is Don Draper. I don't think about you at all. Like, he's, who am I? I'm the guy who's been taking you. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, what an insult. That would kill. Oh my! And then he literally dies. He dies metaphorically there, and then dies there. That's such a bad
Cassian
ending.
really did only have like a very, very brief encounter with him.
I know.
Right?
I'm not saying it's not fair. It makes sense.
But his obsession with him, I know, it was so devastating, and really, like,
I felt. Did you feel?
How much of a pawn, how much of a cog in the wheel he really was.
Yeah,
That's all he really was.
I know.
And then, but of course, his mother will have this, she'll think he died a hero, and his mother, he's a child of a narcissist. And then Dedra, who she's like probably one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
That when they had that lunch, which by the way was probably one of the best scenes in a show. She reminds me of Nancy Walker. I don't know if you remember Nancy Walker. She played Rhoda Morgenstern's mom.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like a little lady.
She was in Rome.
Reminds me of her.
She was in Rome. She plays Cleopatra.
Oh, Nancy Walker was?
Yeah, she plays Cleopatra as like
oh, no way. Okay.
Like,
well, anyways, she's trying to remind her, like, she's a mother-in-law from hell kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But when Dedra was talking about basically how she, from a child, she was raised by the Empire.
Yeah.
So you have children who have been raised as Jedi, and then you have children who have been raised by the Empire. And, basically you're being raised by fascists, and they're basically raising you to be a soldier for them. And she's never known love. She's never, so you kind of from that point of view, kind of understand where she's coming from, but she has her ambitions. But at the same time, in the last episode, you see that she just completely unravels. I could say it's the second last.
Yeah, because law is something for these people. When you're like a person that believes law is there to protect people, but then you reside within a fascist regime, right? So law is always there to protect people, but law within a fascist regime is not there to protect people at all times. It's there to protect the things they do. Like, it's a cover story. Like, we're doing this because the law has been broken. We're invading this country because this law has been broken, or they've attacked us. And that, what we see with the Gorman. So Cyril has a very simple minded approach to law, right? Like, it's been broken. And from the very first episode, you see Cassian get attacked by the law overreaching, right? And his whole crusade starts off against Cassian, going against him for killing 2 members of the law. And he thinks that's egregious that this has happened, because the world he lives in is 2 sheriffs just got killed, right? My God, 2 good men, 2 lawmen were just killed. And this is a bad guy. No, but what he was chasing after was a guy that put the law in place after it overreached for its own gains. And this is the Empire, right? So from the very beginning, those 2 guys overreaching with Cassian, the Empire's on a larger level, trust me, but is doing this. I think it's a perfect metaphor. And it rhymes. It's like a Toad poem, like George would say. It rhymes. Yeah.
It's like poetry. Yes,
it's like poetry. I'm like, is it? I don't know. Maybe it is. It's good though. I like it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I sort of enjoyed that. And by the way, it's interesting because I think it was LL was talking about how, they're basically going to mine a planet until it collapsed, but they wanted to use this opportunity to develop an insurgency and everything, but not forgetting that they also did blow up Alderaan, which had like how many million people on Alderaan there, bro?
Yeah.
How many rebels? Did you say people?
No,
I
they
rebels,
blew up the entire planet.
Yeah, I know, but you said people. I heard rebels. How many rebels are on there?
Oh, rebels, yeah. Well, no, they're a peaceful planet. They, what did Leia say?
I don't know, Heidi. I don't know. Do it.
Yeah. But I mean, like that whole scene, like I was saying when we were watching the episode, I said, oh, they're going to basically draw them into the center of the square. Yeah. And then just basically like fish in a barrel, like shoot fish in a barrel. Like and we've seen situations like that. Like, and I was saying earlier that Tony, he didn't say, he didn't use any modern reference to what he was inspired by. I think he was going after all of it in this one interview I saw him in, but he did refer to the Russian Revolution as his inspiration. But of course, the Gorman are kind of like the French Resistance, which is in World War II. So, I think it's just they're drawing from so many different. By the way, it kind of upsets me that the Gorman are fashion designer type people and clothing manufacturers. What did they ever do wrong? Why are they killing off all the fashion designers?
Well, who made all the Nazi uniforms again?
Well, yeah, that was actually Hugo Boss.
Yeah, the best. Yeah, so I don't know those fashion designers.
There's a really great show, which is really strange because it stars Ben Mendelsohn, where he plays Christian Dior. And the girl who plays his sister is Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones. And basically, this miniseries is about the French fashion houses during the occupation in World War II, and some of them were kind of cozied up to the Nazis, such as like I can't remember her name. Whereas Christian Dior and Lalande and some of the other ones sort of just tried not to make any kind of waves, but Christian Dior's his sister was in the French Resistance, and she got captured, and it was based on a true story. So it was really interesting that Ben Mendelsohn's playing Christian, a French fashion designer.
Too, we're seeing like you said, the French. We're seeing all the, and I got like a little bit upset about it, almost like teary-eyed, thinking about all like the people before a war that die for the war to even happen, right? Like all the atrocities that happened before, before the shot heard around the world of World War I, before Hitler took Poland, right? Like all these things, all these people that died beforehand for all these things. Like, and I'm not like a big conspiracy theorist, but it's like the Gorman massacre is one of those things. It's like they definitely like obviously like wanted them to make the mistakes they made. But I look at it like the same thing, like with America, like 9/11 was used is something to do things we were going to do anyways, or I wanted to do, right? It's like, okay, so now we've got a reason. So like, it's like, this is, I'm not saying everything's all evil, but things are complicated. And sometimes you need a reason to do things. And that's what you see with this Gorman massacre. You know what I mean?
They're using it. They're like, oh, this is an opportunity.
Yes,
like
this is an opportunity.
This is an opportunity.
On 9/11, why did Dick Cheney have two of his lawyers in the room with him? It's because it was an opportunity. You get what I'm saying? And they were defending the nation too. So it's nothing simple. Nothing's easy to talk about.
And really, if you think of history is cyclical. So, you know, not one particular event has been recycled in Star Wars to any certain degree. But if you just look at history, you know, there are examples of how, you know, the big guy messes with the little guy time and time again. So we can draw, you know, references and commonalities to, you know, things in history all the time. I will probably be doing that till the end of time, but yeah, it is what it is. But I think it's still compelling. It's still, like I said, really great writing, and you know, the show has got it all.
Yeah, it's important they don't draw too directly. Like I think what you're saying, Ro. I think it's important that they don't, because it alienates some people, right? Like you don't make a direct 9/11, you don't make a direct World War II. You just make it because, like you said, it is cyclic. So it's like it is been a story. We sleepwalk into the same problems. We're about to go to war with Iran again. Did we not learn any lessons? Like we sleepwalk into these things constantly. So you know what I mean? But again, nothing's simple. Nothing's just like be good, don't be bad. I mean, it's obviously, you know, the smarter people than me are in charge and they still fuck up all the time. But yeah, it's a beautifully written show. So nuances are galore.
No, what do you think about Diego Luna said something really interesting that I thought, that basically season 2 is like a story of love.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I mean, aside from all the, you know, the horrible things that are happening with, but him and Bix have this interesting love story.
Yeah. And I think they were starting to introduce Bix almost as a liability after her assault. You know, she was coping in the way that she would cope. You know, Cassian went on his mission. She stayed home. Luthen obviously paid her a little visit. But it almost seemed like Luthen wanted to make sure that she was either, you know, checked, you know, under control or eliminated out of the way. She kind of bounced back. She recovered. And I think, you know, when it comes to that statement of love, I definitely see that, especially in Bix. You know, Bix, Val visited Bix and said, you know, Cassian is about to get promoted, and then he goes and does this personal mission. I don't think that's such a smart move. Bix is like, you know, he'll be there when he's needed. I don't know about that.
Yeah, we don't know. I have to say though, I was so relieved that they didn't kill her. I thought they were going to kill her.
I thought they were going to kill her. I thought they were going to kill her. I thought that's how they were going to end her relationship with Cassian. And I think in turn, I think Luthen was going to do it, and I think Cassian would have found out. And I made a mental prediction that Cassian was the one that was going to take Luthen out because of that. And you know, obviously Cassian says in Rogue One, "I've done terrible things for the rebellion," and I think that was one of the things that was going to just to be added to his list. You know, I think the first arc was setting up loss. There was a lot of characters that had a lot of loss. They were also setting up the arc of when do these characters realize that enough is enough, and I think different decisions made by these characters demonstrated, you know, when their line was crossed, when their personal line was crossed. But the Bix Cassian thing in this arc really was kind of an amazing thing to kind of see roll out. It was selfless on behalf of Bix. You know, Bix really wanted Cassian to go farther in this mission. She understood that the important thing for Cassian was to be, you know, not distracted by other things. She also, I think, felt something when the supposed Force healer introduced into the mix here, that Cassian was important in some way, and I think she kind of took that to heart. She realized that you know, maybe I am a distraction. She heard from this Force healer that that Cassian was here to be something for someone, and Bix realized, oh crap, I think it's me, so I need to remove myself from the equation.
There's so many of those things. Like I just
Yeah.
want to add on to this. So you have Vel and you have Cynthia that do the same thing. You have Mon Mothma, and at the end of episode 3, where love is everywhere. You have Cedric and Daedra. What's her name?
Daedra. Yeah.
Daedra. You have Vix. You have Cassian. You have Vel. You have Cynthia. I
Her
can't say it.
partner.
Cynthia, Vel and Cynthia. You have Mon Mothma giving her daughter to that guy, to the family that she doesn't want to. And at the end of 3, just like Bix kind of lets go of Cassian, and the end of episode 3, when she dances and just starts drinking, she's giving herself to the rebellion. It is giving yourself to the rebellion. It is this love, and on both sides, it is Daedra giving herself to the Empire. It is, and so it is this like thing. So you see Vel gets, I think, driven to do things like Cassian goes to where is it? What's the name of the planet? Gorman. It's a Gorman.
We are the Gore. We'll just
What's
what
the
is the
planet?
name of the planet?
Is it planet Gorman?
Gormania.
Planet.
Gormanistan. Gormanistan is what I'm going to call it. When she goes to Gormanistan, which is true, to look it up, I know. Somebody will nail me in the comments. But anyways, and she Cassian's like, no, they're way too eager. But like that, both sides are playing that whole world, that whole planet. They're playing them. Right? Even the rebels want them to make mistakes. They want them to escalate things. And Vel escalates things once. She alludes to it once Cynthia dies. Right? I love how she said she was blooded. She was this like Viking speech, which is like epic. I love it.
Yeah.
And oh my God, such good. Faye Marseille, such a good actress. I feel like the to get into it, but her in Game of Thrones was wasted and everybody hated her. But she has done some really good stuff, and she's excellent actress.
She's brilliant. I've loved her in this.
White Queen, she's really good in. But anyway, so there's a lot of love stories in this, but it comes down to like Ro, and again, I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt it, but I just was tagging on what you're saying, because you're saying for the rebellion, almost everybody in here has to make a decision, and it is love, because like we see Jyn Erso and Cassian, it has to get, so how does Bix get out of the picture? You know what I mean? Like how, because we have to remember that Bix was the original connection. Like that she's the one that hooks him up, and like it is her thing. And they were always romantic, but she did have a different boyfriend, of course. I mean, Cassian was always the guy, but I've never seen that as a romance story. I've seen that as a like they help each other. Like there's definitely Luthen goes there because she starts using drugs to cope with it, which is very dangerous. Like people in the mafia, or any like type of organized crime or any type of organization, anybody that's addicted to something is very dangerous, because it's very easy to get information from addicts, because you just take away their source of whatever they're addicted to. You take a heroin addict, 3 days without heroin, cold turkey, sweating on the floor, they'll tell you anything you want, so same reason. So like he was going to make that decision. Does he need to get her out of there or not? Which would have definitely made it so Cassian would have went after him. So the best thing that could have happened, she sobered herself up with that righteous kill of that bastard.
Oh yeah.
That was
I think that we were talking about that, because I think from my perspective, in the very first episode, she's sleeping and then she has this vision of him and he's pulling the blanket down, and then wakes up. Of course, he's in her nightmares. He's kind of like constantly in her nightmares. And I think by him being killed and her doing it, it's like, she's removed that sort of
that power.
Now, it's possible she still dreams about him.
Oh,
and she would still have dreams about it, but at least when she wakes up, she knows
she's taken power back. She has taken
the power back. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, in my humble opinion, she has PTSD.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and she's suffering it. And then she had the attempted rape, which, by the way, as a woman, I have to say, I love how that whole scene was managed. First of all, they gave her agency over it. So it's not like a man came in and killed him. Like, she did it herself, and then she shot the other guy. Sure. So, I mean, it was horrific. It was a horrific scene. It actually kind of reminded me, I don't know if anyone's seen Inglourious Bastards, but there's a scene in Inglourious Bastards where Christoph Waltz is a Nazi, and he goes to this house and they're hiding Jews in the basement. And he asked for some milk. It reminded me of that scene. Yes. Like the way he was just like
the tension, right?
The tension. Yeah. And also because it was the second visit. And and she said, "Oh, my husband's off planet."
He probed in the first one, like you're saying. Yeah.
He did that to the younger to the younger villager too, in that little market. And then
Yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah.
the mom kind of sensed it and stepped in and said,
Yes.
whatever her name was, he goes, get inside. And you
Yeah,
Yeah.
can
he has
tell that he was a
obviously
little bit
he's
of
a
a
known
creep.
sexual predator. He has that. Yeah, absolutely using his power, his
Yeah,
position of
and I
power.
hated the argument of, of course it was a white guy. Yeah, because white British guys are what the Empire is. And talk to George
Mhm.
Lucas about it. Sorry, it wasn't an alien. I'm sorry, I don't see a lot of them, working as the officers. And by the way, for everybody that's like on that in the very last episodes where they're all kind of like, it's like alluded to, they're hiding, of course, right? They're hiding from Tarkin. If you watch Rebels, like this is a time where Tarkin's is hunting that squadron. So there's like a tie in there, which like Ro
Peter
alluded to
Cushing
earlier.
gets to just keep Peter Cushing just keeps to get he's like, man,
Revitalized,
that guy's
yeah,
legacy has lived
right.
on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
and there was a social commentary obviously about migrant workers, right? Illegal work,
yeah, they were checking
um,
but
yeah.
that's
Their
been in
visas.
Legends. Yeah, that's been in Legends forever. Yeah, you know what I mean? Talk to George, people. Talk to George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't live through Vietnam,
Yeah.
then you don't know what the references are in the original trilogy. So
Yeah, it's sad we're
Ro-
still making these mistakes, as Ro has mentioned, but
yeah.
spoiler, we
Oh,
are.
hey, Peter. Yeah, she's a rebel. She goes either going after Dedra for her own closure, or we'll try to find Cassian's sister to give him some closure. Oh, okay.
So
Mon is the rebels on Ghost right now.
yeah,
Is with the rebels on Ghost right now.
yes, she is. Like I said, she
Yes.
ties into
Okay.
an episode. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about. Okay, I know we talked a bit about the story. We're talking about some of the character stuff. But one of the things, Ro, you mentioned earlier. This is one of the things I was mentioning. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my God, I'm clenching my fist. But obviously my costume lady, I like the visuals were like bonkers. Actually, it was funny because I was saying, that one scene, I guess, where the Senate is actually, what country? It's in Spain, I believe.
Yeah.
And I said, well, with the tariff thing they were talking, I was like, they'll have to shoot that in like Boise, Idaho or something.
Yeah.
No, but anyway.
And this was done years ago.
Oh, it's 10
before
years
the
ago, I know.
tariffs. Oh,
but,
yeah.
but apparently it was funny because Jack said, they also shot Westworld there. And I'm like, oh, yes, I knew I had seen it before. But the just the visuals, the architecture, the interiors, the lighting, the cinematography, the costumes, obviously so amazing, like on par with any like top film, any top I have a few pictures here I can show you.
I'd like to see some side by sides eventually of Rebels, because the first few episodes, and I'm not a huge fan of Rebels, but it's definitely Rebels-esque. This planet and all of
the music. Yes, thanks.
Yeah, everything.
Thanks, Peter. I was going to say, actually, because during the one episode where they were killing the rebellion on Gorman, there was this one scene where they wrote this original piece of music that's the Gorman anthem, right?
Yes,
all the Gorman are singing.
Very Les Mis.
It was Les Mis, very Les Mis. But underneath that, there was this like music, which is like usually, hi Alicia, which usually like if they have like an anthem like that, they don't play a score as well, at least not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
Like normally when they do a song, like in a musical, like Justin's saying, they would just have the song kind of soar. But underneath that, there was this like music of dread.
Yes.
Like, so you're like, oh my God, like, so while they're singing this anthem, which is supposed to uplift everybody, you just know what's about to happen. And it was and then Cyril, like, kind of like looking around at what's happening and just taking it all in. Like, he's kind of us, I think, in that moment. Like, he's kind of like,
audience surrogate,
what the fudge is going on here, right? So what did you guys...
Cyril is such an interesting character. At least he turned out to be an interesting character. I think in the first season, he was very annoying. He was...
I loved him even this.
Just kind of like a childlike
idea of good and bad.
Idealist. You guys were talking about how he just wanted to do the right thing, and he thought that the Empire was a way to do it. This last week's episode when he is brought into the Imperial Security Bureau's office and he's just giddy that he's being included in the plans of the ISB here. And he's like, will I ruin it if I say that this is the happiest moment of my life?
Yeah.
You know, he's got that excitement.
Play it cool, Cyril. Play it cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like I said, I think in this arc, right before his spoilers, if anybody has not seen it yet, hopefully everybody has. You know, his demise. I really enjoyed his character, the way they rolled him out. His obsession with Cassian was great.
Yeah.
His expression when Cassian says, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
I mean, it added insult to injury. And I think that's when he realized, oh shit, maybe I should have had a plan B.
Yeah.
You know?
It makes you realize that this is important to you know, what is being righteous in a unethical world, in an evil world, right? I mean, like, so like you have to observe the structure in which you live in, besides just doing what is considered good within it. You at one point have to judge as an adult the system in which you're in. That's what it means to be an adult, is to no longer blindly lead or follow. It's to Cyril refused to do that because he again wanted, because the sheriffs were killed. I must stop that. These people are bad. They say they're bad, but who's saying they're bad? Cyril, use your mind. Right. Cyril, open it up. Cyril, you know, and it's easier said than done, but it's a very basic trope, but it's done really well. And that actor, I like, they didn't make him too much of a, I don't want to say the word, but a wimp. You know, I liked it. I think it was really well done. Like, he was put up a good fight, like with Cassian. I thought about this, like, Ro, as a guy, like, how much time do you think, and I bet like we'd get lazy, but like if you were like Cassian, how much time would you commit to like physical fitness? Because like when you see those fights, like
he doesn't seem to at all, because
that's my point. Yeah.
Well, it was funny because Cyril always seems to be kind of like not in shape or anything. But then I was thinking, dude, this guy, he's been like, go after work, he's been going to the gym.
Probably that's all he's got to do.
Because he's got no friends. And then obviously, he's part of a security force. You know, that was part of his job, and I'm sure some of the older security guys were, had a little bit of a beer belly there, obviously.
Not him.
But
he had his clothes properly.
He was perfectly dressed and altered, and he was
I had a love for Cyril since season 1, because when his one commanding officer, I think he had mustard on his clothes or something, and he was talking about Cyril's outfit, and Cyril's like, well, I had it tailored.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, I love this guy already, right? The
he's
fact
doing
that
Anytime Fitness, he's doing red light therapy, he's all
and he's everything is always on point. I mean, in the way like he straightens that, like, the chopsticks on the plate for his mom, and that little dessert that they were eating at the table, and his mom smashed it. Like, he's like, but then he did that thing. Oh my gosh, the scene with the bed where he drops on the bed, that was one of my favorite moments probably in any show.
And that was supposedly that was his idea, and it was impromptu, and the director said, I love it, let's keep it in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kyle Soller is the
those are little childlike things he does, like how he drinks his milk is like a child, how he flops onto his bed just like, I hate this.
He picks up the cereal bowl and he drinks it, like,
because he's still a child. He's a child.
Jack was like, is the cereal blue? I'm like, no, the milk is blue. The milk is blue. Which
Brendan,
of course that was, by the way, that's a Roger Christian thing, the blue milk.
Yeah, that's cool.
He came up with that. So
Brendan Roberts is a composer. He did Logan, Underwater. I'll share in the comments.
The music is so good.
And listen to this arc's final episode's end credit
score. Yes, beautiful. I was trying to find
amazing.
that. Trying to find it right now, actually, Rose. Thank you. It was so good, right? That was original.
Mom visit. Yeah, the mom visit. Actually, the actress who plays his mom, I've seen her. I had never seen her. I hadn't noticed her before until this show. But now I've seen her in a couple of other shows since then, and she's a really, really interesting character. Like,
she's Cleopatra's like body slave. Like Cleopatra's like. She's like,
by the way,
meet them all.
The other thing I really loved is the hotel maitre d'. On Gorman.
Yes. In good story of a rebel right there.
They were wearing kind of like it reminded me of the Emerald City. Their uniforms, they're in green. Wasn't he a great character though?
He had been promoted. Yes, he'd been promoted within too. Yep.
Desk.
Yeah, he didn't. He recognized Cassian. He did him a solid too, because he had the backstory. This is a story about people that lose. This is how wars happened. People are dead decades before. You know what I mean? It's sad.
Well, I suspect even before they encouraged this insurgency, that the Gorman, I mean, like, because they talked about how Tarkin had landed his
Star
plane
Destroyer, Star Destroyer.
Star Destroyer right on top of them in the square there.
Yeah. Which is just like it's the biggest you don't matter, your ants.
Yeah, your ants. And he said it to Cassian that he's not supposed to talk about it, but then I guess he sort of, Cassian was sort of probing him a little bit about it, so he opened up.
Yeah.
So I think the seeds of rebellion were already sort of there. It's kind of like there's some conflicts that are going on in the world right now. And sure, there might have been some catalysts that have, caused it to become more known in the world. But a lot of some of these conflicts have been going on for like decades.
Ukraine and Russia has been going on for 20 years
exactly.
now.
Yeah, even Afghanistan. I mean, these things like have been going on.
We've been going in that army's been marching into Afghanistan, getting their ass whooped for the hundreds of years. It's ridiculous. So
so it's like one of the things I thought was really interesting though is like how small is this planet? Like, I mean, I assume in the Star Wars universe there's many different sized planets, but there's only like 800,000 people. I mean, that's like less than even the city I live in. So it's like must be a super tiny little planet.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking at it. Okay, I'm gonna find it out.
Hi, Jeps. How are you? Yeah, they already had a massacre, and then they did another right at the site of the memorial for the first one.
Yeah. And how good of a like that kind of like speaks to how like Cassian kind of let himself be seen there too. So like not the best on his part that he was like that guy felt comfortable enough to tell him that, right? So like but he said he's just an artist. He goes, I'm just a costume designer. Fiddly dee, fiddly da, Heidi. I'm just a costume designer.
By the way,
don't mind me.
His hair not? I'm not like I don't normally comment on hair so much, but wasn't his hair so 80s. Amazing? Like I'm like 80s. It almost looked like a hat.
Yeah.
When Cassian was dressed up, and the sunglasses. There's this eyeglass designer that I follow on Instagram named Tom Davies, and apparently those were his sunglasses that created. That he was like, oh my god, he said he watched the show and he's like, oh my god, they're using my sunglasses, and it was like a limited edition, so he was so excited.
It's the name of the planet. It's just Gorman too, which
it is Gorman. Okay, so and then they're the Gore, right? They're the Gore. Yeah.
I think Cassian in this incarnation is only the third or fourth person to ever wear glasses in Star Wars.
There you go.
Really? I didn't know that. Well, one of the things I have to comment on, and this is when they had the what do you call them? The recruits, the new recruits pulled out.
Oh yeah.
And Jack said some of them are not wearing their hats when they were being kind of brought in to the square. And I said, no, they would always wear their hats. Always.
Yeah.
The Empire would always wear their hats. So they all get off. That's one thing I have to say about Star Wars. They are very good with the hats because a lot of shows, they don't want actors wearing hats because it causes shadows and things. But on Star Wars, Star Wars is very, very meticulous with that, the Star Wars universe. So some of them weren't wearing hats. And I said, no, that's not right. There's something off there. And then they show one of the recruits coming out and then he takes his hat and he puts it on. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Also, too, did you notice when they go to that and the last episode where they're on that new planet, right, where the dream seeker lady comes talk to him, how you start to see how they're getting more organized. They're saying, you're not going to get any food vouchers until you see like your commanding officer, your CO, blah blah blah. Like you start to see the rebellion getting more professional. You know what I mean? Like
like when Andor goes to take that ship, like he's going on an assignment. He goes like, you can't do that. You can't just take one of our ships.
He does that in Rogue One too. He does.
Well, he's
and that is prevalent in, again, if you hadn't seen the Rebels animated show, it shows you how there are different cells of the rebellion that are not organized, and that's why the Empire is gaining ground. That's why they're not making any headway against the empires because they're not organized.
Yeah.
And I think this is the impetus of having an actual organized rebellion against the empire, and this is what kind of starts the downfall. So
yeah,
it's,
this isn't Saw Gerrera's people
yeah.
who are huffing gas and be, let's get lit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, yeah, there's a difference. No, absolutely. Because like by the time of New Hope, you know, like you've got squadrons, you've got like, you know, it's a real
Yeah,
mill.
it's
You can
organized, sure.
join the rebels, or you can join, like it's like looked at as like, you know, joining the military, right? Like when what's his name comes home, Luke's buddy, and he's like, you should join Biggs. Yeah, Biggs, like you should join the whatever with me, you know. It wasn't
well, Biggs joined everybody's supposed to join the academy, the Imperial Academy,
which was Imperial. Sorry, go
right?
ahead.
Which you know, Luke and Biggs had the conversation, which is a scene that was cut from the original Star Wars, where they basically say, "Yeah, I joined the Imperial Academy, but I jumped ship and joined the rebellion." So,
okay, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah,
because then they're looking up in that scene, right? With like they're looking at a battle happening, the cut scene, right? And then he says, "Listen, Luke, I've got a mustache, which is pretty cool." And I jump ship. Yeah, I'm like, whoa, he's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to make a couple of comments here. So
bring up some of the costumes.
Jeff says, yep, they already had a massacre, and then they did another right at the site of the memorial, the first one. Okay, so Nashville says, I'm guessing that most of the planet is used to raise the spiders.
Yeah, my arachnophobia is not.
Yeah, so that totally makes sense. Like it's they're the indigenous creature of that planet. I don't know how long the Gore have lived there, but yes. So Jeff says, yes, I thought so too. They were big on allowing the spiders their space to get them to make the best product. That makes sense. And actually, there are spiders in real life, IRL. The golden orb spider, I believe, makes a particular type of silk.
I was going to ask you, is this like a silkworm type deal?
There's silkworms, but there's a spider, the golden orb spider, I believe. Could we get the right spider wrong? That makes this particular type of silk that actually is as strong as like Kevlar. It's like ballistic silk. So, but anyways, and they actually have harvested the wheat, like the yarn or whatever from this particular spider, and they've made I saw this exhibit where they had this shawl that was made from it. And it was like this beautiful gold shawl, only made from spider silk. So it's not like a completely made up thing. It's actually there's something to it. It would take a lot though. It would take a lot of spiders because the Gorman spiders were quite large, right?
Yeah. They in Roman Empire there was like this heist, an Ocean Eleven's like type heist where they had a cane where they went over to China in this late empire and they got like the stuff that the silkworms fed off of first, and then they went and stole the eggs of the silkworms. In Rome, for a period, it might have been we'd call them Byzantines at this time probably, but they had it wasn't as good of a silk, but there was Roman silk, and they had to heist it. You know what I mean? Because like it was China's stuff. You know, like it was in the cons ran all of it, I guess. So I just watched that. I'm trying to get the population.
Yeah, no, and silk, which is made from the silkworm, is actually it's very strong as well. And in fact, they use it for parachutes, or at least they used to. I don't know if they do now. Yeah. And so and also when it's wet, apparently when silk is wet, it's even stronger. So it's sort of like, and nature's, provides this sort of thing. So I love how they did that. And also, but one of my favorite aspects of the Gorman are their flute. It kind of reminded me of the Ricola, like Ricola, like, they're up in the
yeah, right.
That's what I thought. That sort of promotional video that they show to the Empire, like when they're having that meeting and they're eating those tiny little like petit four type pastries and things. So
how wild was that? Planning genocide over tea and cookies.
Yeah.
Oh, have you ever seen the movie? I forget what it's called, but it's a sick, and it's about the dinner where they do plan. It's really it's a well done movie. Reddit is also only 800,000 people on Gorman. Reddit doesn't think so either. People, they think way too many, less than Switzerland. I don't think so. Upvote. And then they said maybe that's why the Empire thought they'd get away with it, but it is a very small, especially for even for ours.
One question I was going to ask, this is something that I laughed at. Like, I don't know if anyone goes onto Reddit, like Andor Reddit. It's very good. But people were going, what about Parent? Like, so Mon Mothma, she just sort of like, had to be escorted out there. No mention of Parent, no mention of her daughter or son-in-law.
We
Yeah.
might
Just
see
like
that. We
she's.
got one more week to go. We might see
Oh,
some
okay. So you think
resolution.
will be
Her
some kind of.
husband's gonna
Yeah.
easily say I've always hated her. You know.
You know
Oh,
what's
very
funny?
cool, LL.
We did a whole thing on Spider Silk, and oh, cool, very nice, very nice.
What do you think,
Sounds
Ro? What do you think the
up with it.
husband's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
do?
super strong.
I
It's
always
super strong.
thought, Perrin in the first season was introduced as this fumbling, goofy husband,
Mhm.
gambler who loses, family fortunes,
Yes,
et
a
cetera, et
wasteful,
cetera.
gluttonous man.
Yeah, but this second season really solidified for me, in my mind at least, that he is in on it and he is
Yeah.
doing all those things to protect Mon.
And he's a
Mhm.
social planner too, like that.
Yeah.
Like he's planning
He
all
has
these
to
events.
plan all the dinners, like
Yeah.
40
Yeah,
something
but
dinners.
So,
a
but
year.
you think
Besides-
more?
I think more, especially.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
obviously Mon Mothma was moving money around to fund the activities of the rebellion,
Which he
but
would have saw.
there had to have been a cover, and I think the cover was Perrin losing money. I think they're in on it.
Part of it, yeah.
I think he is definitely wiser. But they're a team. I think they're a team for sure. And
I agree.
I think
Yeah, like
the
even
second
though
season
it's
was a
like
lot-
technically it's a loveless marriage, right?
But
a
it's
marriage.
that's the way they're. What fun would it be if we loved each other from the start, type of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they
you know what? I don't
think they
know. I'm not
respect
sure if
each
it's
other.
I'm not sure if it's a
sexless
loveless
marriage.
matter. It's like that for us as the audience, but I think
Yeah.
there are a couple of scenes in the second season where it seems like the relationship has changed a little bit, and I don't know if it's the wedding or if it's Perrin opening up, but I definitely feel like they've always been a team, and they've only showed us, the audience, what they wanted to.
Yes, I agree 100% here, Ro. Because
Yeah.
in the second season, we see him in only first season is these undesirable things about Parent. Second season, the planning, but also him like keeping an eye on her during like the party. Like there's like I agree, Rope's picked up on that. Yeah, that's a good pickup right there. I think, and that's just great storytelling because this is gonna happen where they get separated, so it makes more emotional. It's more emotional impact if we care about Parent. So it's smarter to make him an empathetic,
Sure.
but also people, even me, there's good things about me. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got some good stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like everybody's got something.
His speech that he gave at the wedding was really beautiful.
I liked it. Yeah. And they're part of it.
He gave that gorgeous speech to his
Culture is their
daughter.
culture. It's not great, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
You know?
It's so strange too, because watching that, given that we only have like our civilization is so, our personal the Western civilization is so new compared to theirs, which is so old. It's sort of just interesting to watch, like as they have all these customs and culture and how everything has to be done a certain way. And yet, we're like, it's sort of hard for us, say, to identify with that because our civilization as a whole is still pretty young.
Yeah.
So I kind of really enjoyed the world building in the first 3 episodes.
They're more
especially the
Eastern
wedding.
culture when it comes to like marriage. And
Well, they're
all that.
using a lot of like Japanese sort of inspiration.
And I also think maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's some Muslim stuff in there too. It might be.
Yeah, I think it's a blend for sure. So for sure, the costumes, like they have that. I mean, the whole Star Wars universe has that Japanese aesthetic, right?
Imagine having a man bun and being a big old drunk gambler. That'd be sweet. That'd be awesome.
Well, it was funny because we had Carlos on talking about Shogun, and then so I'm watching that. I'm like, oh my god, I'm seeing Shogun here, like the hair and everything, and some of the actual silhouettes of the costumes.
So do we think they killed her buddy from who's also a great actor? He's in The Crown. Yeah, he's dead. Yeah, he gone.
Sure.
He ran his mouth.
Well, there's a great line, and Ro, maybe you remember it when she says, "What are you implying?"
And Luthen says, "Oh, he goes, I don't know what you're implying." And Luthen says, that's very nice of you for you.
That's very nice for you.
Yeah, meaning she's just not into the privy of the back door dealings.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean you're going to do what? And I think that is such a wonderful dichotomy between these two players of the rebellion. One of them is up there on the surface, trying to keep things, organized. The other one is behind the scenes doing all the stuff that needs to be done from a revolutionary standpoint. It's again, I cannot praise the writing enough, because this show is just, it's so amazingly planned, well written, well acted,
Layered.
layered. There's so
Mhm.
much there. And again, like I said, it's just a shame that Star Wars will probably never be as good as it is now.
Yeah, and this is, people just like, oh, this is the guy that doesn't like Star Wars, and it's the best Star Wars. It's like, what do we think about Luthen? And is that there a romance with him and his?
I don't think so.
You guys
No,
don't think so? Or you don't think so?
first off,
I almost
Leia?
feel like their
Difference.
father-daughter. I almost feel like their father-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
that's
I
what it
think-
feels like to me. I don't
Yeah.
think they are, but that's sort of what the relationship
Sure.
feels
She
like.
keeps him. I like how she keeps him
Yeah.
in check. She's like, I haven't checked yet because
she's
it's not
so
safe
good.
to
Like,
check yet.
snap out of it.
Right.
She did a
Yeah.
whole Moonstruck with Cher, like smacking
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage. Snap out of it, because
Yeah.
he was kind of losing it, right?
Yeah, he
And
was emotionally. Yeah,
he was so cool. And by the way, I love the way her hair in it. I think I have a picture.
she's
of it.
beautiful. She's beautiful. Yeah.
I
How
let's
old
see if
is
I have a
she in
picture of
real
her.
life? What is her? I've never. what is
Her real
she in?
name is Elizabeth Dulau.
Yeah, what has she been in?
I don't know.
Oh my god, I'll find it out though.
That's-
Yeah, but
that's
really good.
Luthen.
Yeah, I like how too she says to Luthen, Mon Mothma says, I'm more afraid of you than anybody else right now."
I don't know if I have a picture of her here.
I'm fine. I'm gonna find her, Elizabeth.
Oh, okay, you find it. Anyway, no, they have a wonderful relationship. And the other thing I love with Luthen is he has his wig on, wig off. Like, so when
Yeah.
he's wearing his wig, he's doing the persona, but when he has his wig off, he's the, sort of the main spy network
Yeah.
rebel. I don't know what his proper title would
He's
be,
the,
Ralph.
the deep throat of the
The
rebellion.
deep throat,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's
Yes.
a chess master per se.
Yeah.
She's in Wicked. She's in
Oh, really?
Gentleman Jack. She's not in a lot of stuff.
She was in Gentleman Jack.
Yeah, she plays.
Oh.
I don't know how big of a role. Her IMDb is not huge. She plays
She's
Catherine Rawson.
very good.
I don't know who that is. I haven't seen Gentleman Jack.
I think it might have been her ex-girlfriend. I have to look it up, but I think it's her ex-girlfriend. But I just thought I love that they're sort of, but the other thing that I really enjoyed is when Clea she has to find the device.
Yeah.
Oh my
in the
God,
art gallery.
so tense. And then she
He
had
dominates that dude.
Yeah.
what's his name? Like he
does not have a name. Yeah, I don't know.
He's
I
just
can't
like,
remember.
I just want to go out for coffee with my coworkers. Do I have to do this?
Yeah, she's born around 99. There's no sure.
Yeah.
So she's like in her 20s.
One of
So,
the things I love about the casting on this is they don't cast people who are, traditionally
Too well known. Yeah.
well known or
yeah.
good looking. Like not that they're not attractive, but they find people who are really interesting looking. Like, so for
Yeah.
instance, I think the Kyle who plays Cyril,
Mhm.
I mean, I think he's very handsome, but he's not traditionally handsome.
Sure.
There's something just
He's
slightly
no
off
Ryan
about him.
Gosling.
He's no Ryan Gosling.
Gosling.
Yeah, no, he's
No.
not. But there's something really interesting about him. And the other thing I love is that watching him in interviews, he's completely different than his character. Like
Yeah.
in interviews,
Yeah.
he's got a full beard. His hair's kind of messy. He
He
dresses
played-
kind
yeah.
of bohemian.
The
Whereas
role
his
you could see.
character,
Yeah.
he's so
Sorry.
uptight, And,
Yeah, he's like the bachelor party guy that doesn't want to have any fun, right? Like he's like that guy, right? Like he's that guy, and also the one that plays
no.
Cynthia Veradu
Yes.
Sethu. She's Indian,
Cynthia.
I believe. She's so
Yes.
looking. I believe.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Actually, the
Yeah.
scene where she goes to escort Tay Colma,
Mhm.
and she's in that very smart
escort?
looking escort him. Like I said to Jack, I bet you she's gonna do like fly away somewhere no one can see her, and then just sort of turn upside down suddenly,
Yeah.
and then he'll fall out. That's what I was thinking. She'll open the thing and then it turn upside down and he'll fall out. That's exactly how I was imagining.
Oh my god! Like like some Kyle
She has her
Solar.
seatbelt
Yeah.
on.
What's his name?
That's
Like you're talking
not
about. He doesn't have a huge IMDb either.
That's my headcanon.
Yeah. He's in 100 Dalmatians. Not a lot else.
One of the things that I am a stickler for, I wish that Star Wars would continue or keep on the trajectory of casting relative unknowns with talent. I
Yes.
think that's for me that kind of works better than having someone like Tom Cruise in a Jedi outfit, because you're always thinking, oh my God, it's Tom Cruise as a Jedi, and to me it pulls me out of the universe. We're in this obviously to escape, but when you start to see like big names, I think it's kind of for me anyways, it definitely pulls me out.
Well, there were a
The
few
Mark
people.
Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie
Yeah.
Fisher were relative unknowns. I think when the
Absolutely.
movie first came out, it was billed with Peter Cushing and Alec Guinness, because
Yeah.
those were the big names.
And in the prequels, they wanted to bring in Michael Jackson, wanted to play Jar Jar, which like for so many reasons now. But it was, and then Tupac, there was like Tupac from maybe Mace Windu, and like they
Right.
spoke about Star Trek joke for it.
The other
They
the
spoke
other white
about it.
meat.
Yeah, they talked about it about how it would be distracting, and it's you don't gain much of having like a node like too much notoriety. I believe I don't know who in the
Yeah.
comments are saying
Yeah, because
interesting. Who do
even
we say interested looking?
Hayden Christensen wasn't very famous at that point either. I think
No.
he was in
He
like
did,
Life is a House or
right,
something, or
right. That's the one I saw him.
he'd
He did, like,
done,
2 independent movies.
2 independent
Yeah.
movies.
I like that he's
And
finally getting his flowers though. Like
I
he-
love that too.
Absolutely.
I saw
Yeah.
I saw really cute I'm Hayden Hayden Christensen on Reddit. He's Canadian, by the way. I always have to shout out my
Yeah.
fellow Canadians.
There's no shame in it.
I'm Hayden Christensen on Reddit, and he just seems like the most normal person.
Yeah.
Like not
Yeah.
like he has a farm, kind of like Tom. I can't remember the actor's name. He's also Canadian. They both have farms, and so
Mhm.
he was just talking about his farm, and he's just like so not Hollywood. He's a very grounded
Yeah.
person.
He read what was on the page, and it's George's
Yeah.
dialogue. And again, George doesn't care much about dialogue. And in fair, it's true. Ask him. He doesn't. He's like, dialogue's not that important. The scene is what it is. This is a romance scene.
Mhm.
They're going to be romantic. Blah blah blah. This is a fighting scene. There's going to be action, and like it's going to be a Star War. Here's your Star War.
Natalie was probably more of a famous actress at that time because she had done that really
Yeah.
great French movie. Or it wasn't a French director. Where
It was when
a
she was like
little
a
girl.
serial killer. Yeah, and he like taught
Yeah,
her.
she's like she lives downstairs from the hitman or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's only like 9 or 10 in it. So she'd already been kind of around for a while, but Hayden
There was
Christensen.
there was a joke saying you can do a great Obi-Wan impression. You're hired, Natalie Portman. Yeah, it was a joke.
Yeah. Oh, it's really weird. Like, I don't know, because if anyone hasn't seen it, but I was mentioning
Professional, there
earlier
you
that
go.
George Lucas did American Graffiti,
Yeah.
and Cindy Williams was in American Graffiti. And if anyone knows, she was from Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days. But I was watching recently this audition she did for Princess Leia. It was really weird. And I think it was Harrison Ford who was reading with her because that's how he kind of got involved. He got brought in to do the readings with the actresses as they were auditioning.
Yeah.
And did you see that, Ro? Did you see
I see. Yeah, I saw
Cindy Williams?
Yeah, because she was in American Graffiti. Yeah,
Mhm.
like you said.
Ron Howard.
I love seeing those old audition tapes because you've got Kurt Russell, reading his Han Solo. With
So
Mark
cool.
Hamill. Yeah, so it's really great.
Kurt Russell, by the way, has the best hair.
Yeah.
Like his hair in John Carpenter's The Thing.
Mhm.
I think that's probably one of the most iconic hairstyles ever. Like, and he still has that hair. Like
Yeah.
he still has that sort of feather back hair as
Yeah,
Santa.
it's
when
kind
he
of a
plays Santa.
mullet, kind of.
Who was
It's
the
kind of-
lead singer to Berlin? What was her name?
You Take My Breath Away, that Berlin?
Yeah. Because she revealed just recently on Rebel Force Radio.
Terry Nunn.
Yeah. That
Oh, yeah, Terry Nunn.
She also auditioned for Princess Leia back in the day.
She looks like I'm
Yeah.
looking at her.
Yeah.
She could.
That's amazing. Well, I'm so happy it went to Carrie Fisher because
Sure.
actually, and the only movie before that I had seen her in was Shampoo.
Mm-hmm.
When she was like 16 in that, which is crazy
Right.
that
What's it
she
called,
was
Shampoo?
16. She plays like her mother is like a client of Warren Beatty, and then Warren Beatty comes over the house and she sleeps with him. And it was like,
Oh, those
And,
70s and 80s movies, yeah.
Carrie Fisher, she was always saying that she was always battling her weight and everything. So she was a little bit like, curvier in that role. But I think for Star Wars, she said they were making her diet constantly. It was awful.
Well, I think her habits were also like, not a lot lot of food.
Yeah. Well, her mother was Debbie Reynolds, so it was a very challenging relationship. But do we want to talk about any of the other characters? I mean, we haven't really talked about Cassian too much, or have we?
We've touched on everybody. I think we've done a really good job. We nailed it.
One of the things that we should talk about, obviously, are costumes, because Cassian's pilot outfit in that first scene was amazing.
Have a picture of it here.
I need somebody to make me that jacket now.
Totally, you should get it. Here he is here behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But let me see if I have one of him. Here.
It's a little reminiscent of the Next Generation.
I like it.
Yes.
But I want it. Great jacket.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
How old is he?
That's the fun thing about his outfits. Like it's like they have this place where they go where, it's like a spyware closet where they go in. Okay, I need to have an outfit where I'm a designer, or I'm going to be.
There's no
pilot.
cue or whatever. There's no cue.
There's no cue. Okay, here's your weapons. Here.
Don't ruin my car, Bond, you jerk. Don't ruin the car.
And he says that this outfit was incredibly uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah.
Diego Luna said that.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Probably because of the straps and the things.
Well, here he's wearing it here without any of the other stuff. So maybe with that, but then when you add on all the bits and pieces to it,
sure,
it probably might have been quite uncomfortable. Like he's wearing a full-on harness and everything.
Right. And a utility belt.
A utility belt.
And the gun buckle, or the holster.
Oh, here's another one of it. There.
Yeah.
Doesn't she say they didn't say you'd be so good looking or something like that? It does help, like for a spy. Like honestly, like it does help. Being good looking does help people treat good looking people better. Like it is helpful. Like right, especially
I can see that.
That's scientifically
especially
proven.
If you're charming.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, like people will. Yeah, it's spies being good looking is not just a trope. I think it's like in real life that probably is true as well, because like you're gonna be able to charm your way out of some shit. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that's what's going on with Luthen in a lot of ways. Like, so that's what I was talking about, his wig on, wig off kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he, when he's the art collector dealer.
Yeah. He's very flamboyant. He's very out there.
He's very flamboyant.
Yeah,
he's wearing kind of wears a mask, but when the mask is off, he like the wig is gone and his clothing is completely different.
He sounds more like RFK. He's like, what do you want? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
by the way, another thing I read is that apparently Stellan Skarsgård had a stroke before he did this show, this season 2. And so he was having a hard time with his lines. So he said he's never been very good with that anyway. And also like English is his second language. Mm-hmm. So we'd have to keep that in mind as well.
He's got like 11 beautiful children that are all.
He's got all these stunning Swedish children.
And then Bill,
right? By several, but then Bill.
Yeah, and then Bill.
Poor Bill. Well, Bill's the clown.
And then Gustav too.
Scarecrow.
The guy that plays Floki is his son, Gustav Skarsgård too.
That's right. He
didn't get any of the hair.
It's like the Baldwins, right? You got the top Baldwin, and then it starts.
I know. My brother's got all the hair.
Like Daniel.
It's bullshit. I call it undeserved hairlines. Yeah, bullshit.
By the way, Alexander Skarsgård's going to be in a new show called Murder Robot.
Really?
Murder Robot.
He is an acting machine.
It's on Apple Plus. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. It looks amazing, and it's already been picked up for a season 2. So it's going to be. It's kind of like, we're always like worried about AI going rogue and. Mm-hmm. Or, a robot uprising and that kind of thing. So this is an example of it being kind of the opposite, where it's actually like a robot with a heart kind of thing. I guess that's sort of the scenario. By the way, I don't know if anybody else in the chat or on the panel here has this experience, but are you polite with AI? Like, except for maybe Google, sometimes I tell her to fuck off, but for the most part, I'm always usually like, thank you, like, thank you to the AI.
I'll do that just on occasion, just to see what it says. Like
she
like
usually
Siri,
says, that's not very nice. That's
Right.
what she
Yeah.
says to me.
It's like there's like something called there's like a theory for it. It's like you should always just believe in God because like percentage wise, it's better to do because like if there is a chance that there's an afterlife, like it's just better to do, right? Like so like with AI, if there is a chance it's gonna like overcome us, you might want to use that same logic, right?
Yeah.
Like you
remember that time I said thank you?
Yeah, I said thank you.
Anyway, okay. So I saw this study that said apparently that people have been using please and thank you with AI because they think it's the nice thing to do. It's like it's a polite thing to do.
We interact with it as much too.
Yeah, but 8% of the people who they surveyed are doing it because they're concerned there might be a robot uprising, and they want to make sure that they, that they would never, piss them off.
It's
so I thought that was really funny.
Smart thing to do. Like it's just a smart. You don't want.
But apparently, it is also uses a lot of energy when you do please and thank you with AI. Apparently, thanking AI uses a ridiculous amount of energy, so we're not supposed to actually do it as well.
Oh, I also when they got a gun to our head, but it took up too much of your energy. You had a hard day.
Yeah, but Siri, I'm especially really terrible with her. I'll be like, Siri, shut up, you stupid gal.
Well, in my car, do you want to turn Bluetooth
That's what I say to her in the car. I'm like, Siri, shut up, you stupid gal.
Oh, I say because every time I hit my Bluetooth, it says, "Do you want to turn Bluetooth on?" It's like, what the fuck did I hit the button? Like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Clearly,
yes, but the politeness.
Are you just hit a button again, Justin? You idiot! I'm gonna just turn on, okay?
That's hilarious.
Alicia says the only AI I work with is making pictures on Night Cafe.
AI is all over. No, it's all over the place.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere. You can't get rid of it. You just used it.
By the way, if you guys ever want to be super entertained, you have to watch some interviews between Denise Goff, I think if that's how you say her name, plays Dedra, and Cyril Kyle Soller. The two of them together are so hilarious. Like she is so funny. She was, I guess they were in Japan.
First
Ro, you didn't get to go to that, did you?
I didn't. No.
I'm sorry.
Too far.
Maybe
too
next
expensive.
year.
Pascal's wager is what I was talking about too. It's a philosophical arguing that it's just better percentage-wise to believe in God. Indiana Jones puts it on his
okay.
And then one of the first ones.
It's just like a safe.
It's safer. It's a safer bet. Like even if you're like an atheist, well, it is. Think about it, because what do you get for not believe nothing? Like right, if you don't believe in it, fine, you're true. But if the chance, but also then the question comes in: can you clever your way into heaven? Right? They're like, well, you just believed in me off of like just like a safe route. But just Pascal's wager, I believe it's a smart thing to do. You might be able to clever. They don't got time to check all the paperwork. You're good.
Well, I'm an atheist, so I
no, you're not. She believes. I got your back.
Oh, by the way, did I ever tell you that I was at a parent teacher kind of thing, like not a parent teacher, but just like a bunch of parents who were having like coffee and stuff like that.
Isn't that also called a bar?
And it came up that I was an atheist, and they were all like, oh, and then I said, well, I'm not a devil worshiper, like I'm.
You're an atheist, but you also like do a lot of charity work. So one could argue that
I'm a humanist, like I'm doing
without the promise of reward. You might be a better person.
I'm doing it because I want to be a good person.
You're doing it because you want to be a good person, not out of the fear of risk. Who's the better kid? The kid that gets the A's because he gets $100, or the kid because he wants to get the A's? I almost said AIDS.
Sounds,
I know. I was like confused about the AIDS.
That sounds like an old. That sounds like an old Obi-Wan Kenobi phrase. Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows?
Well, there we go. Yeah. I'm like, shut up, Obi-Wan. Give me one of those sabers.
Yeah.
Tell me about my dad again.
They can't now. I wonder if they're ever going to. By the way, speaking of AI, and
never heard of Ben.
What if they're ever going to bring back Obi-Wan? They haven't done him.
Oh, that's so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful.
Well, they did it with Peter Cushing. His family.
It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
I didn't like it. I actually, by the way, the actor Jack and I were talking about this, and if anyone's wondering who Jack is, it's my husband. By the way.
Yeah. Who's this Jack guy?
Who's this Jack of all trades?
He's other atheist. Yeah, I'll tell you that.
So Anton Lesser, who plays Major Partagaz.
I always call him because I can't remember.
Parcheesi?
No, because I can't.
Major Partagaz.
Because I never remember his name. I always call him Teddy Pendergrass.
Really? Yes, that's good. I'm going to remember that one. Anyway, well, he's what is it? Sorry, from Game of Thrones. He's Qyburn.
Oh yeah, I had a question about him to both of you guys. Sorry, go ahead though.
Yeah. So when I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, he would have been such a great Grand Moff Tarkin. I don't know why they didn't use him instead of doing the slightly what do they call that? Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Grand Moff.
You're never dead.
I'm
Walt
a
Disney.
fan of that. I'm a
I know
fan
there
of
are
that.
people who
Yeah.
are. I
If
think
there-
it just needs to be like I thought that they did a much better job with Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian than they
Yeah.
did with like Leia. To me, I'm sorry, is kind of cringe.
Yeah, it was
But
a
did
little-
they
it was a
sign
little
off
bad.
is the big question. And then
They
like
did.
when-
His family did.
Okay, as long as they sign off, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like there's some things that like some of those guys, they were so old that they didn't have that technology, so they didn't. So then it's just the estate getting money. And so it's just like, I don't know. I feel kind of off. It feels a little bit more. But my question about Qyburn is he seems to be quite like startled and off put by this whole Garmin thing. Like, right? Like I was surprised on how you know, like he seemed like when they're talking about it in the first few episodes, like he was like he was not in on this at all. Were you guys surprised like that he was not just like, you know, like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do? He seemed to really like be like, ooh, like, you know, like have his hands up in the air, like this isn't for us, the Imperials, the terrible, crazy, you know,
He
Imperials.
he was like cool as a cucumber about the whole thing. And then she was. Are you talking about when Dedra
No,
was like,
no. When Dedra's the one that he seemed to be, he didn't like it. Like the whole time they were
Yeah.
explaining it,
Well,
he was
I
like,
think it was less that he didn't like it, and more that it seemed like she made this plan without consulting
Okay.
him or the rest of the ISB
Yeah.
council.
that's
And
what
I
he was
think
uncomfortable with.
Yeah, and I think they introduced a very interesting aspect to the whole hierarchy of the imperial. What do you call it? The regime when it comes to the naval department and the imperial and the ISB, because they
Yes.
are different.
Yes.
And it is interesting, and it kind of plays along with pre 9/11, you know, Secret Service, CIA, where those departments don't talk, and that's why we got a 9/11. So it's interesting to kind of hear that, and I hope they kind of dive a little more into that. They probably won't in this last 3 episodes, but it's kind of cool that they kind of went there, especially in an organization like the Empire, where everybody is cutthroat, and it would make sense that nobody would talk to the other agency in charge.
They're isolated, and it's okay. That makes more sense to me, Ro, than like he would be like. Because I was like, why is he like kind of like, this seems a little bit greedy, too gritty for
you
me.
know, right?
Like,
and in the first season, he told Dedra, he goes, "You should be careful because not a lot of women are part of the ISB, and you came up in the ranks really fast. So be careful. We are watching you. You are good at what you do, but still, there
Brutally
are people behind the
honest.
scenes. Yeah, there are people behind the scenes
That's
that
actually
don't want you to succeed."
That's actually really good because it kind of feeds into the canon because of course in the original trilogy we don't see women
Yeah.
in those positions. So Ro, I was going to ask you, like one of the things I noticed about the Empire, they have different colors to their uniforms, and this is just out of my own curiosity. So, you know, you got the white and the black and everything. So are those like like I was feeling like the white is like they're like the officers, and then maybe the black are, I don't know, maybe infantry, but then we had blue, like that really cool blue at the Senate. So do you know what the different like sort of colors are for those?
So the white for sure is the Imperial Security Bureau.
Okay.
The black is the Imperial Navy, and the blue is Senate Security, and I think there's a gray. Which,
like a khaki kind of color.
Because you also have the Naboo,
Naboo, yeah.
too.
And then they have their desert, their desert, or their with like their camouflage kind of. But I know I thought that was because the blue, I don't remember ever seeing those, and I was like, oh my god, I love
and we were never in the Senate chambers during this time period, on screen anyway. So it's good that they kind of showed that a little bit.
Yeah, and I love seeing this dead Senate too, like, and finally, like, Mothma finally being like, okay, I'm speaking up, because this Senate it's a plaything, for the they have no real power, and then finally
that's what the feeling I was
which
getting,
is unfortunately similar to today.
And then what I was thinking about that was interesting too, because the Senate wasn't actually ever introduced in the original trilogy. So I thought that was
they were already disbanded.
They were already disbanded. The Imperial Senate, when Grand Moff Tarkin came into that meeting room right with Vader, he basically announced that the Emperor dissolved the Imperial Senate, and now the governors have direct control. And actually, that's one of the things that's one of the things in Andor that I wish that we get to see. You know, the
Is the Senate being dissolved?
all this trouble that just happened in this arc would
Mhm.
probably be the motivating factor for Palpatine to say, you know what, the hell with the Imperial Senate. I'm going to dissolve it as an executive order, and you guys are out. So
It's a
I think,
kangaroo court, anyways. It's a puppet
yeah.
show. Yeah.
So I hope we get to see that, and in Andor.
Yeah.
And then you have
Well,
the
and
warlord.
Organa, Organa's like, he says he's going to stay at the Senate, but by the time we get to Star Wars, though, he's on Alderaan, is he not?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
By the way, I was telling Justin before, I think you joined, that I thought, they had to do a switch. They had to bring in Benjamin Bratt to replace Jimmy Smits, and I thought he did a great job.
I
Like
think
I
so,
was.
too. Two great actors, one great character.
Yeah, it's unclear
Yeah,
why
for
Smiths
sure.
couldn't make back, but there's many reasons why they said, legacy characters. It's hard, it could be scheduling, it could be money, it could be any of those things. Jimmy Smith did a great job. It's sad to see that he wasn't back, but it probably simply just could have been a scheduling thing. So you have to use him. You need him in there. So
Sure.
what are you going to do?
Especially for that, I think that's a kind of a pivotal thing for the character to do.
Yes, they need to separate those two too. They need to be separate because they did notice how they said you're not going with him. That's like, because again, just like how they are separating with Imperials, like Ro was saying, it's like it's better to have that. First off, it brews competition too, and it's a way to do shady.
Yeah,
shit.
when you saw that tough lady, though, I don't know what the proper term for her is. When you saw her, though, did you not think, there's something off there? I was like, wait a second, this is an escort? I think there's something going on here. Rebel spy.
Yeah. If you've been running your mouth at the party the whole night, what do you think's going to happen?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the guy that wants to tell on Batman. He's like, so you're going to tell on, you think your boss is Bruce
exactly.
Wayne? It's like, you idiot. I'm like, I'm going to tell everybody, Moth. They're like, okay, have a ride home.
Obviously we know that Organa wasn't involved in trying to kill Mon Mothma, but the fact that he said he didn't know these escorts was like, that was,
Well, there's also one
the two of them I think were fine. I think it was just the female.
That one, right.
Did you notice that on Gorman they say that there's an Andorian convoy that was canceled, and I think that they're alluding that could have been Princess Leia that was going to get involved in this, and they had her step away because it was too dangerous.
Possibly,
yeah. So I saw that theorized that could have been like a little Easter egg that was Leia being like, I'm going to go, because where's Leia during this? She's in the Senate.
Sure.
She's a princess.
Yeah.
There's a couple of comments that Jimmy Smits is doing Dexter, but then Jeps is saying there's been rumors about his health.
It's terrible.
Hope he's okay.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
He's the worst part of Dexter. I love Dexter. I hated him in it. I love him, but I don't like him in Dexter. It was bad. It's a bad season.
Yeah.
But I hope he's good.
So Ro, are you gonna watch Rogue One after the end of the season, or do you feel, or
yeah, for sure. I think
do you think you might go back and rewatch this season and then?
And now this season, yes, for sure. I know leading up to second season of Andor, I rewatched the first season just to kind of get the blood flowing again. Absolutely, I think it's a great companion piece. It's kind of historic for Star Wars to be able to kind of have 2 seasons of what happens before Rogue One. The fact that we have something that happened before A New Hope in Rogue One is amazing enough, but now we've got even more so. So it's fantastic. I think it's great.
Now, before we finish up here, I should mention that
we just started.
Alan Tudyk had one line in this episode, the last episode, as what's this character called?
K2SO.
Yeah.
K2SO. So, by the way, what did you think about the origin story there? Now, apparently,
they retconned it. Yeah,
they retconned it, but some people were saying they preferred the way it was done here.
Yes, it was done in a comic book.
Novels.
Until Gilroy obviously isn't a fan of many of the things, so I think it was better. It was just a little comic book of how they met, and it was
a one shot.
Is that considered?
We did a breakdown.
We
did a breakdown in yesterday with a friend of mine, Dingus Den. So if you guys are interested, we went through the whole comic book. Last night. Look for that on
Let's
YouTube.
link it in the chat.
But I the story, what we came to the conclusion is it really it had the same essence. I mean, they met, the robot was reprogrammed, and here we are. The some of the particulars and details were slightly different, but it really was of no consequence.
Yeah, it really was.
And I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau basically said, it's canon until it's not. And I think one of the things that supersedes written, either books or comic books is whatever happens on screen. If somebody puts it on screen, that kind of supersedes, whatever might have happened in the writing.
Yeah, because you have to remember in 2014 or whatever, when Disney bought obtained Lucasfilms or whatever, that everything Legends was essentially ripped out of canon until Disney, and then
it was a bit of a mess anyways.
It was always the thing about comic books is there's many different incarnations of things, which makes it good to play with. Dave Filoni is responsible for just as much of taking canon and shitting on it as he is for saving it. So some people's like God complex with him, I think is a little bit misconstrued. I think he has done some really good stuff. So it's canon until it's not, man. It's just canon. And it's just like, I like it when it's just let it flow. Anybody can have any type of story like comic books because it's better that way in my opinion. But yeah, you do need to have some lore when they're doing a show. So it's like Gilroy wanted to do things this way. And he hadn't read it. So I'm interested. I'm going to look up that thing. Let's try. Did you put it in there? Thank you. Yeah.
Well, it kind of also reminded me a little bit of, I think it's the Mandalorian is one of the droids in that is a killer droid. And then they take the parts and then they sort of redo it. So
I hope we get to see Chopper.
IG-11. And actually, this link that you just posted is Sam Witwer talking about canon, according to George Lucas and Dave Filoni. And it's an interesting little short YouTube clip. But Sam Witwer, who is the voice actor for a lot of the animation and Darth Maul, he's a walking encyclopedia of Star Wars.
He's corrected Dave quite a few times on set.
Yes, yeah, and it's really great. So anybody in the chat interested in hearing, his
Sam
take
cares
on
more.
canon, Sam does care more. And if you ever hear the story of how he got the role of Darth Maul, it's a fascinating story. He was in Chicago here in April for C2E2. Was it this year or last year? I think it was last year. But great stories. He's a great storyteller. Sam is fantastic.
Best part of Rebels. Darth Maul.
By the
Rebels,
way, that cute little robot that's still left on the farming planet, do you think we're going to see him before the end of the season?
I think you'll see him available in stores for purchase.
He's so cute.
Sure.
If you're interested.
I can't remember his name. I'm terrible with droid names. Sorry.
BMO or
BMO?
I got it. Hold on.
BMO Harris Bank.
I love it when nerds are in their bag and can course correct for better effect in the movies show. I was watching, what was it? Oh, when I did the interview for the Wheel of Time, it was really cool because Sharon, who's costume designer, was telling me that they had a person on set who she had read the books in and out, knew everything about the entire Wheel of Time series. So almost like a researcher. And so if they had a question about, Wheel of Time, they could just go to her and ask her.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure they must have Star Wars.
Yeah, they lock them in a closet nerds, sometimes, probably. And they're
super nerds who know all the lore.
Yeah.
That you can just call on, hey, I have a question about this, or what have you. Because it would be very hard to track.
It would. Well, they'd have to. But I'm pretty sure that Filoni has now got the job title that you do have to send everything through him. And that they do him. And I don't know if it's him and Favreau, but I got this for $5. This is from the Obi-Wan series that everybody hates.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it's $5.
BK is asking, what is that, and why does it sound like a Mogwai?
Oh, I don't know what that is. It was the thing from
Leia's.
A Mogwai is from Gremlins, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, it's $5. They were on sale.
I found one at a thrift store, but it didn't come with the base. So
it either has the legs row or the base. You can take it off this and it has the legs. It's not for $5. I mean, come on.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. People didn't like those series.
I was gonna weather mine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would look
it's
better.
Kind of like the shape of it is kind of like a ladybug, with the wings going up like that.
Yeah.
I
got legs for it somewhere.
Yeah.
It's $5.
Well, it was the other thing that was really fun while I was watching this show. It was like, oh, I'm like thinking, where's Leia? Like, she's probably maybe like 16 at this time. Like, I was just trying to imagine her.
Well,
like,
this is
where
what, 3 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah, so it would be.
So she's
like
right. She's right there.
she's 18, I think,
right
in Star Wars. Am I correct?
Correct.
That's
So
why I
yeah, so
said
maybe
some people were
15,
alluding to the fact
15.
that they said that she was going to be that planet, but they turned that convoy around. Excuse me. So I think that might be like they're alluding to that she's here. A wink and a nod. Leia, changed her plans, or somebody changed because it was too dangerous.
Yeah,
which would make sense.
Yeah, it would make sense. I mean, we saw her in Rebels, running. What did she say in A New Hope? Diplomatic missions from Alderaan to other planets.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that she would be around doing the same thing, and obviously.
What was always amazing about that is that it was funny because I did an interview the other day with this costume designer who was working on this Kevin Bacon show. And she said the hardest thing in shows is to keep the costumes clean. Like breaking them down actually isn't that hard. And I was just thinking, can you imagine Carrie Fisher wearing that white dress and not getting red lipstick on it? Like that would have been crazy.
Well, hear this theory. It's a popular theory on Reddit, and I don't like it at all. But the Elizabeth, the one we were talking about, the one that plays
Clea?
Well, yeah, Clay. That's really Leia in disguise. That's a stupid theory. No offense to whoever.
No.
That's a big theory. Supposedly,
people were thinking
She's too
that
old.
because they kind of look the same. They put
Kind
a
of,
side by side picture, and Kalea, take the K out.
Yes,
Gotcha.
Kalea. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
sure
I
there
get
might
it.
have been-
You're the same
You know
8 times,
what?
but I just got it. Okay, yeah, I got you.
You know what though, Justin?
it's
That might
like-
be a bit of an Easter egg. You might be
It
right
could
there.
be. I'm not right. It's not mine. It's Reddit's. They can
But
have
no,
that
not at all.
garbage
First of all,
right.
she's too
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
She's
It's
much
like-
because
it's
like
like
we were saying,
poetry, it
Leia would be
rhymes.
like 16.
Yeah, it's like
about
poetry. It rhymes. Toad poem.
if we're
or
away
whatever.
from if we're like at least a year away from, well, actually, how long is it from the time that Star Wars starts? Like from Vader landing and arriving on Leia's ship, boarding her ship.
That's at the end. So that's
the
right
Battle
after
of
Rogue
Yavin.
One. What, 4
Well,
years,
really,
right?
the Empire really was only around for about 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Star Wars Empire and Jedi, obviously, what is it? Less than 10 years.
You're saying when you're having fun, it doesn't go. No, it's terrible time. So it's it took forever. Yeah. When you have an empire, time flies. No.
Someone was saying it'd be crazy if Clea is Cassian's sister. It's funny again with Cassian. She did the real tough love thing with him, right? Like when he was like, you know what? After this, I'm done. I'm done.
Cassian's mom basically told him, "Stop searching for her. She died."
Yeah, that's some tough love.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, it's like I kind of feel that Cassian not wanting it is your typical hero's journey.
Yeah,
so
the best king is the one that doesn't want it. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So Jon Snow, he didn't. I don't want it.
Sick of fighting. That's why you must be it.
I don't want it.
No,
Okay, so I can't do it at all.
Maybe have some. He needs to want to do it a little bit, but no, that's why. That's why I always go to corporations.
The fact that Cassian does, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want to take that role is a sign that he is the one who should take the role.
When Steve Jobs passed, I went to Apple's and I was like, I don't want CEO. I don't want to be the CEO. They're like, who are you? I'm like, I don't want it. They're like, oh, he must.
We didn't ask you to want it.
Oh, I'm like, I don't need that. They're like, who are you? You need to leave. I'm like, get out of here. I'm like, I don't want it. They're like, oh, that must be the new CEO. Yeah, I should have got it. Tim Cook.
Your own hero's journey.
Yeah, I had it for a minute. Tim Cook. He wanted it.
We should probably wrap up because Ro may or may not be hopping on too.
You know what? Keep going.
Okay, cool.
I'd rather talk this.
Oh, okay. It's so fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what else should we talk about?
Well, costumes.
Yeah, we should do the costume
Let's
thing.
do it. Let me show some pictures.
What were they wearing?
Well, obviously the first 3 episodes with the wedding, I don't even know. Like, so what happened was
you must have been bombarded with images during the wedding.
was like, I don't even know how to process this. There's just so much. Like, I think that Mon Mothma had like 9 outfits just for that sort of the 3-day event or whatever.
Yeah.
And Michael Williamson, I believe, is the costume designer. And so it was funny because when I was interviewing Sharon for the Wheel of Time, I said, she was like, I said, oh, I really want to interview Michael about the costumes because they're just unbelievable. And she said, oh, I might be representing him. Let you know. So hopefully that, something there might happen. But I am actually going to be having someone come on with me in a few weeks to chat about the costumes, because I have this new friend who is a buyer in costumes. And we were chatting about like, what shows do you like? And I said, oh, I love Andor. And he's like, oh my God, I love Andor too. And Ro, I don't know if you watch Foundation. That's another show that I really enjoy the costumes from. But
oh no, not yet.
This show, I can't even I kind of feel like the costumes are like, here. And then everything else is kind of like here. So it's kind of unfair. It's just so aside from it, obviously, part of the whole world building and it, fitting, obviously they have to tick all the boxes regarding Star Wars. Like you were saying, the uniforms, they have to have a certain look for them and color palette and so on. But just all of the new stuff that they've come up with, these other different cultures, like the Gorman.
Yes.
And obviously, and then, for all the affluent, 1%ers, I kind of call them. The senators and so on, just the silhouettes, it's like, and then of course you have the more humble clothing as well of the, the rebels. Like for instance, when Cassian lands on Yavin, and then he's sort of like, he meets that little group of bandits, just
I thought that if I had to be a jerk about this, I thought that story thread that's why I think they needed
a little too long.
Yeah.
I was afraid to say it, but and that's why I thought some people they didn't trust enough to release the first episode. I thought if they only released that first episode, it would have been bad news. I mean, not that the show wouldn't have sunk or anything, but those 3 episodes needed, because it was too much.
I think for me, like I was mentioning earlier regarding how the rebels aren't always going to be your perfect,
that point was made.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying. And then how they're like fighting amongst themselves. It was very Lord of the Flies kind of like, that's sort of how I felt with him. And he was put into some kind of danger there and had to obviously get out of it. And also the fact that his contact was not there. So that kind of caused a lot of, Star Wars.
It was almost secondary to the almost to Mon Mothma's thread for the first 3 episodes were almost more hers. I think took front and center, the wedding. So it was fine. It's just I think I agree. Thank God. I was ready.
I think they did a really good job
of
bouncing back and forth between the parallel storylines there.
So do I. And I think another good thing is too, they didn't overuse the volume.
This is Tony, by the way. This isn't a costume.
Yeah. No, that's him saying, I don't like Star Wars, and a bunch of people getting mad. That's just him. That's all he says.
Well,
I met him.
It's funny how the 2 directors that don't like Star Wars are the 2 directors that made the best Star Wars.
Because they're not they're making a good story.
Why would they come out and say they don't like Star Wars?
Why would they say he has a tattooed on his arm. He showed me.
That's very mean.
I know it doesn't do it. Like, especially when I looked up his quote about why he didn't do the same. He goes, "Am I really beholden to this bullshit?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, calm down, calm down," because you're gonna it's like.
I have to say that's a little bit disrespectful.
There's a line. I'm not saying he's disrespectful, but I think he could cushion it a little bit more for PR reasons.
I think he just means he's just not a fan of this type of franchise. Irving Kershner was not a fan of science fiction. He just loved good written characters. And it just turned out to be The Empire Strikes Back he directed. So,
but he did still choose to do that. Well, but George made him do that, right? Irvin, whatever his name is, wasn't that thing of he begged him to do it because George didn't want to direct it. And it was the best ones are the ones that George didn't direct, by the way.
Because he's not. I don't think as you said, Justin. I don't think he was as comfortable with it. He's not. He doesn't really like working with actors. He's not an actor's director.
And he had such a rough time in the first movie.
He almost died.
He almost.
But I mean, I personally feel that Empire is the best movie. And
you need George Lucas.
Rogue One might be kind of but I still feel Empire is the best movie.
Imagine if Gilroy would have done Solo. Gilroy was Solo. I
like Solo.
No, Solo's fine, but imagine Solo was done too, also in a few seasons. It would have been so much. It wouldn't have been wonder how he got his gun. Somebody gave it to him. How did he get his name? Somebody gave it to him. You know what I mean? It was it was a little bit of a mess. But yeah, so I mean, we give people time to breathe and in artistic, freedom, so I think that he did choose to work in the Star Wars
sandbox.
So you need to be respectful of that, but also like just let the man work, let him cook, you know what I mean? Let him do it. So
here by the way, here's so there's Mon Mothma. This outfit, oh my god, this
stunning.
This is when they have to go to this dinner, and then there's Luthen wearing his
that
wig.
shit smile. He just, it looks so
yeah.
Yeah.
And Perrin. And just like, oh my god, but that outfit she's wearing is just, I mean, the actress is what's her name?
Stunning. And she was in the prequels, but barely.
She's absolutely stunning.
Gwendolyn, yeah.
She looks amazing. I think she's Irish.
Yeah, she's one of those. I'll look it up. She's from that island, one of those islands. So look it up. She was in the prequels, and most of it got cut. They could have very much so just cast somebody else, but she's perfect for it.
How amazing is it to be an actress that is cut from a Star Wars scene and then get called back years later? And
cool. Well, I mean, and they are obviously, they're having to, I don't think they de-aged her, but I think with makeup and, her hair and everything, she has one of the things that Jack and I were laughing at is like, everyone has a very high forehead. And
she does.
And, but they're all wearing wigs, right? So
she doesn't she's Irish. Yeah, I'm looking at this IMDb.
Yes.
Yeah, her IMDb.
I have kind of a high forehead too.
She's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, she
is. She's absolutely stunning. She looks great in everything. And then and then there's obviously Dedra.
Hold on a second. I need a second when I see Imperials on screen. Give me a moment.
Sure.
Okay.
Is it weird that I'm attracted to her because she's me? And
especially
she's kind of like when it's funny. I didn't think she was attractive in the show, but when you see her in real life, she is so cute.
I just finished watching, and she's in another show called The Stolen Child, and I think it's on Hulu or maybe Netflix, but she's really great in that. And it's funny to see her outside the Star Wars realm because this is really the first thing that I've seen her in, and then seeing actors in other roles that you see them, and it's always really cool.
I mean, she's clearly not trying to be attractive. She's always trying to like look like she just smelled something horrible. So
she's doing, she talks about the frowny face. She does the frowny face. But it's funny, the guy standing behind her, he's also a maester. He's in House of the Dragon.
Yeah, he's
cool.
He's
Maester Orwell.
He wants to get Beesbury out of their nerve. Shut up.
Yeah,
we'll stay. Yeah,
he's a maester.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Again, but anyway, one of the things I love are these trench coats they're wearing.
Yeah.
And she's born in 1977, by the way, Mon Mothma. So she is 8 years older than me. So she's 48. Okay.
She's 10 years younger than me. So Dedra here, like I love these like trenches they wear. And then they wear those, they still wear there's something in the buckle. I can't remember. Bro, maybe you know that. Like that they wear those with their pants like over top of their jackets as well, but I thought that there was something inside the buckle, like maybe like
it's the same thing that's on their hat.
It's like a communication device or something,
and it's the same thing as this.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, so originally when John Mallow did that was just like they like some kind of decoration, and then they kind of later made it into. It was the same when Mon Mothma is wearing that little pendant, and I was like, "What is that thing?" And then I realized it's a communication device, or like she taps it when she's about to speak.
Yeah,
because I was like, "Why are they wearing those things?"
Like in the prequels. Sorry, in the prequels, like it's just like a little Gillette razor thing that what's his name talking into Liam Neeson.
Lady Razor.
Yeah. Yeah, he talked into a razor. I forget exactly. You know what it is, bro?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a picture of her, that little thing here. Well, this is her dress from the
wedding.
From the wedding, which
she just starts bopping. She's on Molly at the end of that. She starts going. I love it.
So that was supposed to be some kind of like party drug, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a Molly or something.
She did like 3 of them though.
Yeah, and then Perrin's like, hell yeah, that's my girl. And his parent, he's a scumbag. He's like, yeah, this is why we got together. I remember back in the day in the clubs.
Well, I was like,
Right.
I was kind of like laughing because, I'm a mom and I'm like, if I was at my kid's wedding doing that or at a party doing that, my kids would be like, oh my God, my mom is partying. Like,
Yeah, but
that's
your
like,
daughter just said, "I wish you were drunk." Remember, her daughter was kind of
well,
being snippy
yeah,
to her
her
dude.
daughter,
So she just
her
popped.
daughter
She
is
should have
like
just done a
16
line
or
and been like, "Well,
something.
there. How do you like that?" Yeah.
What a
What do you like?
great relationship. The way that
Yeah.
mother and daughter were portrayed, the dichotomy
Yeah.
between the two. Mon Mothma thinks that she wants to save her daughter from this ritual, and the daughter's like, "No, man, I'm all in. I like
Yeah.
the tradition. I love
Mhm.
that."
Mhm.
Let's see. I'm gonna share this. Thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's her daughter
exactly.
here.
It's Hold on. Let's see. Here, really quick, this, and I'll give it back to you if you can see it. See this?
Justin, I'll be right back. Okay.
Do we see on the scene
Yeah,
the Gillette
Jade-
sense? Yeah,
the
yeah.
lady,
So that's it.
Lady Gillette.
Why was that on? What'd you add that there for? Oh, there's obviously they're in the desert. Yeah, so that's brilliant right there. I've heard a lot of cool things about the switching of the why it was supposed to be a lot of Qui-Gon Jinn. A lot of that stuff was supposed to be Obi-Wan, what he did, and they really changed up because Obi-Wan almost doesn't need to be in the Phantom Menace until the end, right? So they really switched up how much Qui-Gon did. I heard there was the original script was Obi-Wan doing almost all of this. But they're like, well, that doesn't quite make as much sense. And I love the whole connection of the real father or the best father dies. Qui-Gon would have been the better master for Anakin. That whole theory, I think that's a really good theory about how Qui-Gon would have been there because Obi-Wan wasn't ready either. Because remember, he's like, you don't know anything. And then he's like, you're ready for the trials because I got a new kid. You know what I mean?
Right,
he rushed him through. So
sure.
Have you done the novelizations? I've done it for Revenge of the Sith, and I love them. I think they're so much better.
Revenge of the Sith, I think, is the only one that I remember.
I love it.
Really adds some texture to it.
Yeah, at the beginning, they're in their starfighters during the Star War, and they're every kid in the galaxy is either saying he's Obi or he's Anakin. It really gives you an idea that they're war heroes and all this, by the end of it, and it gives depth to, once you see Clone Wars, somebody brought up, good thing, when he's denied being I know we're going off a little bit here, but just talking about how these shows that, really thread things out, even Clone Wars, which is an animated series, give Dave Filoni his due here, did a really good job with it. Where you see him get denied the being a master in that, it makes sense. Here's this decorated war hero that has saved all of your asses a bunch of times. And in the film, he looks like a crying little baby, right? He's like, what do you mean? And Obi-Wan's like, well, I just don't trust the, but it's but I do believe that the film should stand on its own, to be clear too. But I'm willing to soak the sponge that is fandom and read like you got that podcast that I'm gonna listen to talking about the I know about that comic that they retconned or whatever, but I like that type of stuff. I like hearing about that. That's gonna make me go, I'm gonna listen to your guys thing, then I'm gonna go read that comic. That's fun for me, but not everybody does that. So I always, as a critic, I like to say, or when I still do critic stuff, I like just edit now and keep my mouth shut. But I like to be well, to be fair, the movie should stand on its own. I always critique a movie for its Andor needs to stand on its own. I can't like Andor because of all these other, but there's barely any tie-ins. The Rebel stuff makes it a little bit better, but it's it has to stand on its own. It's a good story when it stands on its own. It's Ahsoka. I had my dad watch it, and I had to apologize. I'm sorry about that. I thought it was so bad. It was just because I was I like the Clone Wars. I was oh, this is gonna be really cool. This is gonna be a good series. And then I was oh my god, I just thought it was so bad. It was just so bad in my opinion. I was this is just so bad. I'm I'm sorry. Because he didn't know who, and I'm they're depending on you to care so much about the Clone Wars and Rebels for this to work in Ahsoka, right? They're depending on you to care so much about things that if you're just watching that, that's just bad storytelling. You have to pick it up. We said, if we didn't read anything or know anything, Heidi has not seen any of the animated stuff, and she's really into that, right? You know what I mean? She's in. That's a good story. It's just it's not a hard rule. But, it doesn't mean other stuff's junk. It's just it does need to be. I've heard people say it's oh, you go to a restaurant and the food is good and the service is good, but the lighting is off. I'm no, it's you go to a restaurant and the food is good and the service sucks, right? You can't have it all. It's it is what it is. So, yeah. But, yeah, that dangerous smile, Ellen Darkwater. So, let's see. The novelization of it, too, when Obi-Wan's fighting General Grievous is so good, too. Just anytime you can get inside that, it's the natural saying of the books are better. But the books are the books. Who else would be better at being myself than I?
Right.
Type of deal.
What are you talking about?
Tim Cook, he stole my job. Yeah. Nothing. I was just talking about the novels, and I was looking at Qui-Gon Jinn's little little moisturizer. He is
there's a comment in the chat. Abby says, if I need to read supplemental stuff to understand your story, it's badly written. And going into Ahsoka, I didn't think they did such a bad job, and maybe because I understood and watched Rebels and really got it, but I thought there would be a lot more character exposition explaining to each other what is going on. But I feel like they did a decent job of introducing a little bit of the backstory of who Ezra was and who Sabine was and all that stuff. So I don't think it. I don't think it was that bad.
He's stuck on the planet and all this, but then with like Tarkin, it's another thing too. It's like, okay, so Tarkin is he's just smart because we say he's smart. He's not doing anything smart. He's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, so many things are bad in that show, in my opinion. The zombie stormtroopers are slow when you need them to be. They're not. So many rules are broken. Yeah. It's like Star Wars is full of this stuff too, with like the Jedi sprint. Remember, like when like if only
right,
there
then
was
we don't see it. We don't see it ever again.
Don't see it again. And there could have been just a line. You can only do so many of those. You know what I mean? Like
I think you said Tarkin instead of.
I'm sorry. What's his name? Instead of the Green Man,
Blueface,
Governor
Blueface,
Thrawn. Yes, Thrawn. Yeah, sorry, I've done that twice this episode. I apologize. I knew every time too.
One of the things actually on this show, I think they've done a pretty good job with like some of the behind the scenes, but I think a lot of us have gotten to the point with some of these shows, sci-fi and fantasy, where after behind the episode, they'll basically explain the whole story. And it's like, we don't need you to explain the story. Many people have said,
you should have done that in the writer's room.
You should have done that in the writer's room. Yeah. But what I'm always really interested in is, for instance, how they built the world or something like that.
Yes, the mindset of it all. But you don't something doesn't become canon because George R. R. Martin tells it to Entertainment Weekly or somebody else. That's not how it does. And Thrawn, it's just like he's such a genius. He's like, I gotta load these boxes into this cargo and then we could go. It's like, okay, like the Thrawn in the comics, and I hate to be one of those people though, it's like really like he knows like how to like he's like he's a student of like everybody. So he learns a lot about them and like always like respects other people. And this like he like disrespects, like he says like always he sends like just a few TIE fighters against the Jedi, which like he shouldn't do. Like he knows they're stronger. It's not a very good show in my opinion. I mean like I think that
you said it earlier too. I think Dave Filoni really should stick with animated shows. I think he does well there.
Yes. The way he lingers on shots, like it works better in animation. Like when we're like sitting there with what's her name's like when we first meet her, what's her I can't remember anybody's name. Who I didn't have a big issue. People have issues with the show for like a different reason than I do. Like people thought they didn't like how she was like a strong character and Ezra like would sit on the back. What's her name? The Sabine, yeah. So, but Sabine is a strong character, and I'm fine with her being force sensitive. And I thought there was like enough with that. Like, I don't really care. I think a lot of people are like, "Of course, they've got to make men weak." I'm like, get off that. That's not the argument to be had here. Right. The argument is the story depends on you too much with supplemental material, and you can have your opinion, but it's like just because Ezra sits on the back and she sits on the front of like this like freaking cow or whatever it is not the reason to hate it. Because everybody's so worried that things are being thrown down their throat at these years. They're like, oh, they're trying to, it's always trying to make men weak. I'm like, just stop worrying. You'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel that people don't like the series for a different reason. You can have your own opinions, but I feel mine are objectively.
I haven't seen it. Do you think I should watch it?
If you not, yes. I mean, why not?
And you McGregor's wife is in it, right? McGregor, his wife is in it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And she's very. I look forward to season 2, and I guess it's gonna be pretty cool. But it's like.
By the way, Ewan McGregor's coming to Toronto to Fan Expo. I was like, oh my god, that's so exciting. So actually, last year, Leland my son met. I have to look up his name.
Absolutely, Abby. That's exactly what I'm saying. It should make it better, but it doesn't. It should be. Oh, that makes it even better. That's what A Song of Ice and Fire is. Like it makes it better. I mean, the later seasons, but who's
the actor? Giancarlo Esposito. Yeah. So Leland last year at Fan Expo met Giancarlo Esposito, but he wasn't there because of Star Wars. He was there because of Breaking Bad. He loved him in Breaking Bad, so that was really cool.
Peter's asking, do you know about the father-daughter son? Which Ro might be better to explain this to you than I. Which just has a very deep meaning and not too much, but it is part of Ahsoka. Yeah, this is like kind of like this is the folk tale behind like the Force, kind of the power of the Force. Rogue.
Well, I know about Leia and Luke. Do you mean that
No.
kind of? Oh, okay. This is something else.
This is I'll send you a link.
It's a big
There's
thing.
one
Sorry.
there's one episode in the Clone Wars that you have to watch regarding Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and Anakin and the father son. It's almost like a weird take on the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost or Holy
yeah,
It's like the
Spirit.
so
etymology of the Force.
Yeah.
And it's it's got its detractors, but it's got there are still some interesting things that are introduced in that concept of the Force being represented by a character who's the father, a character who's the son,
Mhm.
and a character who's the daughter. And I think each one of those three characters are personified in one character or more in all of Star Wars, especially if you were a Force user. So it's interesting. It's an interesting take. And I kind of feel bad for Heidi. The fact that she is not privy to some of the stories in Clone Wars and Rebels,
Yeah.
especially
Mhm.
because there is a lot of especially the latter half of the Rebels season. There are a lot of really great tidbits with Force lore and Palpatine kind of playing with alchemy and trying to do what
The witch shit,
what he's always wanted to do is live forever. You know, he realizes that his body can't last forever, so he tries to kind of manipulate the life force of himself and others to try to live forever. So it's kind of like it's a really cool piece of lore that I think Star Wars, or I guess fans that are not into the animation kind of lose track.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of bad.
Also, the Night Witch, but you're losing out
The
on
Night
the
Sisters.
understanding about the Night Sisters, the magic
Yeah.
that there is other magic that you need, like because like for the Ahsoka specifically, to be fair, if you don't know about the Night Sisters, then you're gonna be
You're not
confused
gonna
about
get
some of that stuff, and it's a pretty big part of it. So it's like again, like I think that like I always said that like when it comes to magic, you never want to like explain it completely because then it becomes science.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like I think that it's always good to have like a like possible. It's just like religion. It's a theory. It's like okay, so this is like like this is the history of something, and this is the this is
Well,
the,
all science was once magic, I think.
yeah, but it's like, oh, how do
Yeah.
you become like, oh, how do you fly? And it's like, well, it's magic. Well, and then if you like make it too specific, it's like there's like the Wheel of Time does magic systems. It's called making a magic system with like how they have their wards in the books. It's really well done.
Mhm.
Their magic system and Wheel of Time. So I think if you're gonna go down that, you can either leave it completely just like up in the air, which I think is better, or if you're gonna dive into it, you better do a damn good job. So I think that it's really hard, and maybe Ro could put together, or somebody could put together, Heidi, you like a guide of like the Rebels episodes that are important because you can just pick and choose. I say anything that's just in Clone Wars that is just the bots. The droids think you can skip, but like there's you got to kind of like rummage through some junk in there because it is a kids show, which it's good for that. And kids shows are important.
And it's even, don't they show it like on Saturday mornings or something?
They
Like
did. It was used to be on Monday
Yeah.
night. Yeah, it used to.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
A whole bunch
What
of kids younger than me grew up on this stuff. So like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's you're losing out on some of it, but yeah, you could watch Ahsoka without it. I don't think Ahsoka holds up very well without it though. I don't think it holds up that great.
I actually wanted to touch on something Peter was saying because I'd heard this. Luthen had some good taste and a good eye for artifacts, and there were some Easter eggs. Ro, did you? Yeah,
a lot of them.
A lot. So like I personally, I saw it and I was like, I don't know. Something I did was like that looked kind of familiar. It was Amidala or something. Oh, one of the headpieces. I believe.
Up, guys. Okay, I got a page I can put up when we talk about them.
Sure.
It shows them.
Yeah, Amidala's head what do you call it? Headress,
Helmet,
whatever.
like yeah.
Plo Koon's breathing mask apparatus.
Ooh, I love Plo Koon. First episode of Clone Wars.
The Aztec calendar for Mexico is back there somewhere.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because Diego Luna, I think, is also Mexican, isn't he?
Right.
Ooh, that's fun to say, Diego Luna. But then you have the Jedi Temple Guard. That's from a different show. Sorry. Jedi Temple Guard mask, which is from Rebels. You have what are these?
Sankara stones.
Sankara
from,
stones.
Indiana Jones. and the Temple of
Oh.
Doom.
Oh, those are
Oh.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
They belong in
Oh, that's
Luthen's
so
museum.
fun.
They belong in Luthen's
Oh,
showcase.
wow. Yeah. Sorry, which episode was that of Indiana Jones?
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom, which, sorry, I just watched that a couple months ago.
Number 2.
Sith Holocron,
Not-
which is that
but-
is part of the Rebels.
So, of course, obviously, because George Lucas was a producer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
He
yes.
made Indiana Jones. He said, "Hey, Harrison Ford, you want
Yeah.
to make
And
more
what's that
money?"
one, Justin?
This one right here is the Sith. This is a Sith Holocron, which is that's
Mhm.
Rebels too. So like again, it's
Yep.
kind of like these are fun things. They're like, "Are you adult that watched a bunch of cartoons?" Me and Ro like, "Yep," and then we get to be like,
Of
"Cool,
course.
this is fun." Yeah, so it is worth it. So this is I don't know if you want to expand on this anymore. I don't. It's just you need 3 people to open it. You need some good Jedi, some Siths to open it. It's very dangerous. It's very powerful. It's the power of the dark
Is
side.
it
I have
sort
all
of like
this-
Pandora's
I-
box? Oh, look, Ro has one.
I have the secrets
Yeah.
right here.
He has the
Don't.
secrets. And does it open up like all the
Heidi,
triangles?
he's a bad guy. We gotta get out of here. I don't know.
Is that from Rebels?
Yes, it's from
Yes.
Rebels.
It
So what happens
basically
when you
it
open it?
basically holds all the secrets of the dark side.
Oh, that sounds bad.
It's it's basically like the apple in Eden.
Yeah.
Yes. The little stickety snake said, "You want this?" I go, "I got a bunch over here." He said, "Eat this one." I said, "Okay, fair enough." Star Killers, Dark Lord. This is from a video game, and this
Mhm.
guy's pretty sweet. I've got the action figure for him, Star Killer.
And
He was
and the
Dark.
whole outfit is in the corner somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Star Killer was Darth Vader's apprentice in this video game called The Force Unleashed,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and I don't think is that canon anymore. I don't know.
By the way, while you're scrolling through this, I was going to say, when we were mentioning about the cadets or the novices not wearing their caps, and then when they came out like to do crowd control with the shields and everything, half of them weren't wearing their visors down, and then even the captain, like he didn't put his goggles on. Like it's like the goggles are just a decoration for the helmet; they're not actually used as a physical. I thought that was so funny, just to show that. That was actually super purposeful, though. I really enjoyed that.
There was one cadet in the background that put his visor down and it kept on coming up, and he was like,
oh,
fumbling
okay,
with it in the
okay,
background.
yeah, they're just like
Yeah.
they're wholly
They're new
untrained.
recruits.
You got to,
New
you got to have your
recruit,
PPE. I just watched the movie Warfare, which A24 really true to. I wasn't in combat or wasn't in the military, but supposedly very true to fact, and it's a good representation. And a lot of that is them like getting their gear on and stuff like, and like like a lot after they get hit the first time, getting their stuff, because that stuff's heavy. I don't know if you've ever worn it. I've worn some of that stuff. It's so heavy, and it really is. It's terrible.
Justin, can you go back up again?
Yeah.
Like it was showing some scale mail or something.
Yeah,
up
well, you've
there?
got so we've got, hold on.
Oh, when Mon Mothma is there in that picture.
So
with
this
you
is
there.
this is Wookiee's helmet, it says.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's really cool.
So it's got chainmail above it. Yeah, it's got like that fish tail, right? So this is a good relations with the Wookiees. Luthen must is like good relations with Wookiees.
You know
Luthen
what?
must have,
I mean, if Luthen makes it out of this series, it'd be really fun. It'd be really fun to have a standalone.
I bet his
Luthen series,
assistant's
him getting
him
him like going. It could be kind of like what's that Nick Cage movie where he's like American, like
hunting
he's going
treasure
after
hunter.
Treasure hunter, like we could have like a Luthen treasure hunter standalone show where he's just going and acquiring
on the back of the Constitution, bro. Gungeon. This is Jar Jar Binks people's like touch of shield. A Gungan's shield.
Yes, okay.
Gungans.
Yusa interested in this. And then let me see, World Between Worlds tablet, which is where I believe the father and the daughter, the daughter, it's where we were just talking about the mystical
father,
porter.
son, and daughter.
Yeah, the World Between and this is where we also saw Anakin and Ahsoka have a little spar, which again is the best part of Ahsoka, is the World Between Worlds. It looks like a big water slide.
And speaking of Ahsoka, so what's his name is in it? Like Anakin's in it?
Yeah, and that's again, people just want and so do I. We just want the Clone Wars remade. That's basically it. Yeah, in my opinion. It's Ahsoka getting some advice from her.
A carbonite block.
Yeah, so this is obviously.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And if you notice what is in the carbonite block, I don't know if this article shows
know what it
that.
is.
It's Indiana Jones' whip.
Yeah,
my
Raiders
God.
of the Lost Ark.
That
Yeah.
is so fun. I love that. So
And it's the
like,
head from Prometheus too. Prometheus.
yeah,
It's
Prometheus.
Prometheus. Yeah, I can't say it.
Yeah.
Prometheus. I can't say it. So fertility idols from the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
These are the droids you're looking for.
Yeah. So.
Oh, by the way, wasn't there a line in there? It's a trap.
Yeah,
was
those
there
guys,
a
those
trap
fish people
line?
always say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there wasn't. Wasn't there?
But I think one of the
in
Gormans said
Andor?
said
The Gorman said it's a
Yeah.
Oh, do
trap.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the dad, he kind of figured things
Mhm.
out early, right?
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, speaking of, I just wanted to talk about, like, we were mentioning about Cyril, having a big battle with Diego or
Yeah.
Cassian to say. But what about that scene where he tried to choke out Dedra?
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy violent.
Yeah. That's what happens
Wow.
when two Nazis find out they're lying to each other.
Yeah, you're trying to out Nazi me.
It's like, wait a minute, we're not good. It's like, no, none of us are good. You
I'm
idiot.
more Nazi than you are.
Oh, I'm the biggest Nazi.
No,
here.
that was crazy, and she still wanted him back. She still wanted him back even after that. This is how
she in one
programmed
of
she
the
is.
one of the interviews she did, she says that she studied a lot of female psychopaths for the role.
Yes.
And homework played out real well.
Yeah, because I mean, think about her. That's like the most effort she's put into a relationship.
Yeah. Hashtag I can fix her.
Yeah, I want to try. Let's see. I'm looking.
That's
at
true, Abby.
Oh, by the way, it's funny. P Peppers did a really great review of the last 3 episodes. Ro, I don't know if you know P Peppers, but I've had him on the show. He's a super lovely guy. Lives in Vietnam, and he's reviewing. He lives in Vietnam. Yeah. And anyway, one of the questions he was wondering is, what do you think Dedra and Cyril did in the dark for 1 hour?
Oh, yeah.
It was so funny. Like, they obviously have some kind of kink or whatever, but the look on Cyril's face when she's like, turn out the light.
Yeah.
Look at how he eats that soup. He went all in.
Oh my God. That was so funny.
So they shot Gorman. It was in the Pinewood Studios in the UK in the back lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look where they shot it.
Well, they had to build it. That's one of the things when I was watching the behind the scenes, they were showing them actually building it. It was crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Whole set.
Dave Filoni's like, "What are you doing? We've got the volume." It's like,
yeah.
The volume sucks.
Yeah, you got to stop using it, man. They do use it.
Yeah, they do use it, but they use it creatively. When they were in the hiding spot, the volume was used for the environment in the windows, which is great. I think that I'm a big proponent of technology, and I think that's one of the reasons that George Lucas, to me, stands apart from other directors. He has propelled filmmaking in a way that no other director has. Through the advent of technology. We've got nonlinear editing. We have got digital cameras, thanks to him and his team. But I think, our eyes, got used to the volume in The Mandalorian really quick.
Yeah.
But I think the learning curve for a lot of directors with the volume was something that they probably should have made a little, like, training a little bit more for the volume, because obviously you have to, the workflow is a lot different. You have to create your special effects first and then shoot your stuff, where in traditional filmmaking, shoot everything on a blue screen and add it all in later.
Yeah.
There's a couple of times in Mandalorian where the volume is used very, very well.
Yes.
But it takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of, sleight of hand, which, obviously filmmaking is a big sleight of hand moment. But it's really cool to see, traditional movie making. Andor, obviously, I put up in the post a little earlier, both seasons cost a staggering $645 million. The show looks phenomenal. It is indistinguishable from a film nowadays. I wish this arc especially was shown out in the big screen. But that first. Was it the first arc where they arrived on Chandrilla and it was one single shot of Mon Mothma greeting?
Yeah, there was a oneer.
Guest?
Yeah, there was a
oneer. They call it. Yeah,
and it's beautiful. And you think about it, you couldn't do that on the volume.
No.
And by the way, she walks so fast. Is it just me? There's a lot of fast walking in this show, actually.
Either fast walking or short steps, which makes it
Or
look
maybe,
like it's
yeah.
fast.
There's a scene like even Diego Luna, or sorry, Cassian, and there's another character. They're walking so fast, but she's walking so fast and in heels. And I'm thinking, oh my God, by the end of the day, she must have just been absolutely exhausted.
Well, I think Andor 2 proves like stuff like Rose talking about here is like, okay, so number one, when you have like, well, George Lucas, like, it's like, this is the first time that they were able to watch like their shots from the day in the same day with the way that they're shooting digitally. So he gives so much to the craft. So like what you're seeing is like pretty much him like just breaking boundaries and making things so other people, he runs so other people can fly, whatever the metaphor is. And so like sometimes it's like when you're judging his movies, it's important to keep in mind that like he's breaking these boundaries. So it's like he's not just a filmmaker, like he's like a technological like whatever genius,
visionary.
He's pressing. He's always going further with technology, but people going against a blue screen in acting isn't the best, especially when they've never done it before. That was new. Like to be on set, like on scene, on location, the third time's a charm, on location, it really helps actors a lot, to like embrace their character to like it. So I could understand like a true Star Wars fan, because I'm probably not considered one, even though I've watched all this stuff, but like I could see them being mad that they didn't give this type of budget to Obi-Wan, when it seems like they definitely should have.
Hi,
right?
Abby.
Like why when like you could have like I see the anger there. Like you should have gave a bigger budget to Obi-Wan, and like because Obi-Wan was forced, because essentially the studio, you're like, you've got the volume, why not use it?
I have to say, like, Justin, remember we did a live stream about Dark, the show Dark, and that was pretty much all practical, right?
Yeah.
Like they, when they were in the woods, they're in the woods, and when they were, in the town or in their homes, or they might have been some sets, but for the most part, all the exteriors are practical. But then when they did 1899, all of it was done on the volume, and it just kind of lost something. It kind of like, I felt like the show had such potential, but I think it just really kind of sucked out the energy. I'm not even exactly sure what the word is.
Probably from the actors and from the actual vision.
Yeah, the actors don't have much to work with. It's kind of like when you have to act with a dragon that's just basically a tennis ball or something.
Right.
So it's very difficult, but that's a supernatural character. But like whereas like say if you do something like Dune and then they shoot it in the desert, like in an actual desert, as opposed to, by the way, the TV series of Dune. Oh my God, it's done on a set. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, it's so Eastern European. It's so good though. Yeah.
I kind of love it though in a way, but as opposed to, you're actually shooting in the desert and it's hot.
They fly Timothy 15-20 minutes away from everybody. And they got people that are covering up the tracks in the sand, and he can't even see the cameras when they're filming him walking, like in those solo shots in the second Dune movie. They flew him out so he'd be isolated out there, and then he's just got a little person in his ear, like a real person, not a little like
he's doing a little walk or whatever.
They're walk 15 feet this way, and like he's just doing a
special walk he does. So it's just, you can't I'm always going to be really a big fan of practical when it can be done. And I think what's happened is I think the pendulum has swung a bit. So originally, like for instance, like I was talking about Toto earlier, I saw this video that they did from like the 90s, and it looked like the very early CGI type animation, and it was so bad. But then it started to get pretty good, right? And then with Marvel and everything, or Spider-Man, I would watch and I'd be like, oh, this just looks so fake though. It just doesn't feel real, right?
And the big part of that is there's so much work out there for 3D animators and not enough 3D animators. I've got friends that work in the industry that are.
I heard it's hell. Hell.
It's hard. They're overworked, underpaid. They get deadlines that are unrealistic. So these guys and gals have to work, arduously to be able to meet their deadlines. And sometimes, I mean, they meet their deadlines, but at what cost? The shots look like crap.
Yeah, they don't have the time. Like there's a joke saying like, oh, we'll animate it. It's free. You can do anything. It's like, it's not free. It takes a long time. Seth Rogen learned a lot about how they treated animators when he made that stupid Hunger movie, whatever it was, with like the hot dogs being people. He realized like, oh my God, this is like running like a sweatshop. It's just terrible how we treat like, these people. And like Rose saying, a lot of times there's just horror stories. A lot of the
I kind of like that movie.
A lot of the strike was about them getting more money and stuff. And it's this, you got to realize it's like, you know, half of movie making is artistic, but you know, arguably 60 to 50% of it is lawyers and people like, you know, looking at the budget saying like, yeah, why aren't you using that volume we built for you kids? It's like a kid, they got the toy. Why don't you ever use the toy we got you? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, because it's like you're killing our fucking art here. You know what I mean? Like it's just
well, I remember like when I was doing my coverage of Alien and Ridley Scott had built this set, and then the studio heads came down and were like, what is this? What are you doing? And he's like, no, we need it. No, you don't need this. You got to get rid of this. And he's like, nope. And he fought for it, and thank God he did. It was like the space jockey part of the Alien movie original. And so sometimes it's like it's a battle of the artists versus the studios. And you know, cutting costs and trying to find you know, this whole thing has come to light. I'm not saying that I don't agree with the fact that Hollywood or America has had a lot of the production leave their country to go shoot in other locations because it's cheaper and they're getting tax credits. But I was saying though, some of the things though, like Prague is used because it kind of has a timeless sort of look to it. And it's an old city. And so when we were shooting these sort of like espionage shows or these sort of like they're shooting the new Blade Runner there.
It can't get gothic in America. We're not that old.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to do something in LA on a back lot and build the whole set and everything and have it feel natural as you're like a Born Identity or something.
Even the last Batman where they used Scotland because they wanted a gothic like Batman, like, you know, instead of
or like Lord of the Rings. I mean, you got to shoot that in New Zealand, right? It has to be shot in New Zealand. It can't be shot in.
There's a famous Hobbit behind the scenes where like at the end of the day he had whatever his name is, had to do it because everybody else fucked up, and he had to come in. He had none of the time to do it like he did Lord of the Rings, and he's sitting there with like Ian McKellen or whatever, and he's just like Ian's going nuts because he's at a green screen and he's talking to a ball, and he's like, just explain it. He's because his mind is breaking, right? He's this 90-something-year-old man, and like what is his name that made it?
What was it supposed to be that he was? Who was he talking to?
I forget this. I'll find it for you guys. But there's this famous scene of his mind just breaking, and he's so frustrated. Del Toro, right?
Yeah.
He's like
Guillermo del Toro.
He's like, can you just explain to me what's happening? You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, I'm trying. He's like, and then I'll get it because they couldn't, like, they didn't do it the way they did it because they shot it in 3D. So when you shoot in 3D, like in the first one, they did like a bunch of different sets. There's like, they'd have like smaller people, then you'd have regular sized people, then you'd have like bigger weapons, smaller weapons. You'd have to do like everything like 2 or 3 times to get like the different shots. With 3D, you have to shoot it all in 3D. So like, it's just like a lot of that forced perspective, but mostly blue screen. And it just broke, like, especially the older actors' minds. And there wasn't the prep. There wasn't the storyboarding for years.
Well, because they did do at least with the original, like Lord of the Rings, they at least did having the small actors.
Yes.
You know, the Hobbits
forced perspective.
Yeah,
forced perspective. So they did that practically. Like one of my favorite movies is what's that one with Jim Carrey? Something with a Spotless Mind.
And Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, Eternal Sunshine, and all the effects in that are done practically. So it's just like it's a little bit of a mind bender in some ways because of that.
Yeah.
As opposed to CGI. So we're getting totally off topic.
No, but it's there's a great Space Jam extra too, where like they were like, seriously, where they're like, well, you'll just fix that in post, and he's like, no, we can't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's Ro can probably speak to this more than I, because you know people in the business that, from what you've just told me, that do animation. But like, there's a lot of that from what I've heard of just like, you'll fix that in post, and it's like, no, we won't, asshole. Yeah. Like, it can't be. Like it, like, so there's like reasons why there's certain basketball players or certain creatures, because like it went through Michael Jordan, like the ball went through him, so they can't fix that. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's funny. It's not funny. It's very frustrating from what I've heard. Very frustrating. Animators are just they're what do you call them? Minches is the word. Really good.
Yeah. Well, I always say, like in wardrobe, the unsung heroes of wardrobe are the breakdown artists, the people who do all the dirt and the mud and the blood and all of the distressing. Those are the unsung heroes, are the people who work so hard. It's sometimes often very physical as well. They have to put their back into it.
Sure.
And so I always always want to shout them out because I think they do incredible work. So people who do any kind of technical aspects of production, I always think that they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Because
the cool thing about it though is that they love what they do.
True. Yes. And we love what they do. We love
exactly. Yeah. And
yeah.
I know,
we appreciate
sometimes, unsung heroes, underappreciated, but, having worked in production myself is just, I'm knock on wood. It's one of the things that I still love doing. I haven't been jaded through adult cynicism. It's fantastic. And
well, bro,
like
you were such a sweet person, and I can't even imagine you ever being jaded because you're such a lovely soul. As are you,
much.
Justin. Justin's like,
yeah, whatever. But what do we think's going to happen? I guess we should close off with what do we think's going to happen in the last 3 episodes?
Yeah.
Everybody dies.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's part of it, probably.
Except Cassian.
All jokes aside, that's probably 30% of it.
I was kind of worried about that, actually.
Yeah,
like he's last girl.
Yeah. Well, obviously
you got to get to the film, so heads got to go. Right?
Yeah. There's obviously some things that I want to see. Like I said, little details like Palpatine dissolving the Imperial Senate. I want to be able to see some of that. And it's funny because I think Diego Luna said, when you watch not only Rogue One, when you watch Star Wars: A New Hope, you'll get a new understanding or a new perspective based on what we see in the last arc of Andor. So,
which we should, yeah.
Yeah. So I hope that happens. There's certain characters, obviously. I'm looking forward to the Cassian K2SO beginning relationship. Looks really, really fun.
I love Alan Tudyk, by the way. He's
do you think we're going to see, do you think we're going to see Christian Hayden? Do you think we're going to see, I heard rumors that we are.
No, obviously you can't trust what the creators say, but Gilroy basically said, there's no like significant cameos or fan service in this show. It's all self-contained. So I'm not. There's not going to be another Darth Vader hallway moment in this. I don't think.
Yeah, which they did add at the last minute of that. What I heard.
Do you think we'll see Bix again, or do you think that's it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Hi, 30 days.
That's
someone was saying, wouldn't it be cool if there was like the episode ends and then we have the credits and then there's a post-credit scene with Bex? Like, someone was asking earlier if she's pregnant. I don't think she is, but
yeah, I think it would be. I don't think we need to see Bix anymore. I think we need to feel like Cassian feels about her loss.
Yeah,
and I think that brings out that relationship even more so if we feel it as an audience. I think, we got the message. She's gone. Cassian is suffering because of it. I think we should kind of stay in that moment as an audience member as well, and then just move forward.
What if they do a thing where Bixen and Cassian are like, okay, we got to make like agreement. Can I kiss anybody? She's like, only if the world's ended. And he's like, deal, right?
They have have their list of if it's like a famous person.
Hall pass. If I see Darth
Hall
Vader,
pass. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that
pass.
What made her whole speech so tragic, of course, is we know that she's like, I'll come and find you, and we'll do the things we talked about, and we know they can't happen.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like, it's like years ago I saw a play called Blood Brothers, and I saw it in London, and then so they tell you everything that happens at the beginning of the play, which is basically these twin brothers shoot each other dead. And then they start at the beginning and about how it's basically these two twins who've been raised separately and then they come together later. But you kind of forget that they kill each other at the beginning. And then so when they kill each other again at the end, you're like bawling your eyes out because you're just like, oh my God, this is so awful. So it's sort of like this, like, I felt so.
It's like Hitchcock's. It's Hitchcock's like thing about like suspense versus like shock, knowing the bomb's going to go off versus just having the bomb go off and getting that moment of shock instead of having like a full scene of suspense type of deal.
Yeah.
And then he said, "I'm also a creep." I said, "Ooh." I said, "Oh, that guy's no good. Look into him." I'm looking up. Somebody said that something about Andor's sister. I go, something like nobody knew. They go, "We didn't know." We
is
didn't
that
know.
that's a loose thread? Do you think we're gonna get something about that?
I don't think so.
No.
People are asking. I think no. Gilroy, just like Rose kind of alluding to, or not alluding to, saying, is a pretty straight up guy. I think it's a straight up story thread. He's not. His sister's gone.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
it goes along with, again, just the loss of the character. You know, he's suffered through a lot. Some of it is, justified. Other things he's not satisfied with answers, but I think that's what life is like, and it gives it a more realistic twist.
Frank Herbert said, "Life isn't something to figure out; it's something to experience." So
we don't always get all the answers.
And it's also a box of chocolates
to figure out.
You never know which one you're going to get.
Yeah, you got to figure it out.
You know, the series could have ended right there, right here.
I think so.
I almost thought it did. I had to look.
It could have ended like right here.
Yeah.
And
I agree. I think it could have ended there.
I'm interested.
I think it's really up in the air. Like, what else are we going to show? Obviously, it's going to be a year after, and I think, it's going to be, it's my podcast host and I mean, he has, we've been reviewing the series, all throughout the weeks here. And, we usually have our shows on Saturday night at 7 PM on Scariff Live. And it's, he has given the show some really, decent reviews. And this is the first time that he just texted me, he goes, "Dude, this is a 10. So I don't know if next week, I don't know how it's going to top, this week's arc.
I don't think it can.
I'm certainly looking forward to it.
But every critic that's seen the whole thing talks about it like it's the New Testament come again. And New Testament, everybody knows, was kick-ass. A better metaphor I could use, but they're like, it's the best thing ever. Yeah, every critic that has seen this whole thing really talks, great about it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not talking. Yeah,
I don't know if
these
John
things they have to be good.
I don't know if John is here, like AU Packmeal, but he was the one who got me to watch this show because I was like, I don't know, because like I wasn't like, I thought Mandalorian was really good. I really love Pedro Pascal, and I thought I wasn't super crazy about Kenobi. I thought it was okay, but then he was like, you have to watch this, Heidi. And last season, especially the jail season, like the jail segment, that was like very George Lucas, by the way. That whole that was very THX.
Yes, Chopper. Yeah. So Gilroy has to have some love. He said he doesn't like Star Wars, but not that he doesn't like Lucas's other work.
But also, the episodes are really a decent length too.
Oh,
so you're getting like
goodness too.
Yeah, I know. So like, I think with Kenobi, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Mandalorian, they're only 30 minutes, I believe.
30 minutes with like 40 minutes of like credits.
Yeah. Whereas these are probably more in the 40 to 50 minute range.
Yeah, 40 minutes. They're about 40 minutes.
47 and up.
Yeah, because like, I mean, by the time you take out the just the, what do they call it, the opening part where they,
which is only like 15 seconds or something.
Recap.
Oh yeah, the recap.
Sorry, I've had a few drinks, so now I can't remember everything. You're wondering what's going on here, folks.
No,
so I it's, when you think about it, then so we're getting 12 episodes at like 40 to 50 minutes each. That's significant. That's like 3 feature films.
So with the last 3 episodes, since we really need to, I think that you might not see Bix again for the reason of they really need to establish Bix is gone, and so having 3 more episodes without her in it at all, and Cassian doing things and moving forward, right, will really establish that she's not going to be there, right? Obviously, in Rogue One, it'll make more sense. So I think having out Bix, because you don't get rid of somebody by keep bringing them back. You got to, cut it off, Cassian. Yeah. Somebody had a dream, get rid of her. That's what my girl said. She had a dream. See you later. I said, oh man.
By the way, the other thing I was going to mention that has nothing to do with anything, but I really like the habitats that they live in. Like the one on
they were pretty cool.
Oh, they're so cool. So the one on Yavin, and then the one also on that the planet where they do the wheat, the harvesting planet.
Space wheat.
Yeah, I just like the
design of the show is impeccable.
It's so good.
And
I was like, I could see myself, I would want to live there.
I like the
You know.
census program they have. That was fun. I go, that's cool. I like that accountability. You know what I mean? I thought that was fun. I go, that's fun. That's cool. I go, how fun
Family
is that?
fun.
How fun is that? They're counting everybody in all the families. And I said, that's fun. Like,
Yeah,
to see
the
more of that.
Show your
program.
show
Yeah.
your visa, little Billy.
Yeah. Oh, real ID. I was like, oh boy. I
Yeah.
was so excited for that. Yeah. That's just me. I'm crazy, you know. Love that. I was like, ooh,
Star
I like
Wars
this.
tiny house. Yeah, they're
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
like the one on Yavin is kind of like it's sort of an outdoor house, but not an outdoor house. Like, I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you can hear the jungle animals.
Mhm.
William or whatever, he's not in Rogue One, is he?
No.
Probably because he gets some space venereal disease with all this.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
All the
he's very
shenanigans.
promiscuous.
Yeah, he's raw dogging the whole Star Wars world. He's going
Yeah.
crazy out there.
He's got one of those little cherub faces though.
Yeah,
like,
how is he getting so many ladies? He's like,
He's got a cute little cherub face.
I
The
guess.
girls like him.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a big old spy. Cassian's like, shut up. He's like, no, it works, man. So guess what? I am a spy. Don't tell anybody. You're so cool. Yeah.
Hi Fusion. Fusion says,
All
I
my
really
friends are
hope
dead.
they do a Knights of the Old Republic, the Sith Lords
Yeah.
reboot. It was made back in like 2004, but it really is similar to Andor's vibe.
Yeah, if I really like Darth Raven and all that, and I think that if they're going to do a new movie, I'd like to see either Knights of the Old Republic, or I'd like to see the what is it, the area that the period row that the real kids series it's set it. What is that? It's New Republic. Is it not the New Republic? It's kind of where
The High Republic.
High Republic. Thank you. There we go. A High Republic. I think you need to get away from the whole Skywalker stuff. Like, get away from it. All of it. Go away. Go far away. There's a lot of time in Star Wars they could explore.
Somebody has said online that at the end of Andor, this should be the end of us exploring stories in this era.
I think it should
And I think they might have a point. I think
Yeah.
this really
was me,
has,
bro.
has
I just said
I
Hi
said it.
Jackie.
be. Yeah.
It's
I think that's actually a pretty good point. Like,
yeah.
I'm sick of it because you're stepping on too many toes with the lore. It's like, go to a different time.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
plenty
the other
of
thing-
Although the High Republic book campaign was a real flop, and unfortunately nobody read those. But
now,
Yeah,
Ro,
but-
how happy were you though that they never went to Tatooine on in Andor?
that's where
I
all the
was
Star
waiting
Wars
for it.
is.
I was waiting for it. Meanwhile, on Tatooine,
It's like so
Ben
much.
Kenobi. I only Obi-Wan Kenobi. I only know Ben Kenobi. I'm like, you idiot. You're the chosen one. Remember that? It's like, come on. I only know Ben Kenobi. I'm like, it's clearly him. So, Uncle Ben, you ever heard of that? He's like, oh man, I got a lot of work to do.
Oh, Jackie's saying I still haven't watched Andor. Yeah, I know. I suck. No, you
yeah,
don't.
well,
No.
she hasn't watched Andor, so
Yeah,
To be
Tatooine
fair.
is kind of overdone.
yeah, that's the
There's
sand
other
planet.
worlds to explore. It'd be fun if they did like an outer universe kind of maybe something.
Well, it's
Well-
Hayden's. Yeah, he hates sand. They're like, well, ready to go back to
Yeah.
Tatooine. He's like, fuck, come on.
well, one of the movies takes place way after the Rise of Skywalker, so we might get something soon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I got like a lore book, and like there's this one like festival. It's kind of like a traveling carnival, and like there's like a Sith attack on it. They would make a pretty cool like series. Like
My cat's here, by the way.
it's all the High Republic and stuff like that. There's a lot of weird stuff. There's
There's
a lot of people. There's a lot of Jedi before this that have turned Sith, and then like Darth Raven's a good one they could do.
Mhm.
All that. I think people float. There is a whole large demographic of people that just want to see boom, 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 and I'm not totally
Yeah.
against it.
Mhm.
You know, that's why they don't like
he
Andor.
didn't eat sand. He hates sand.
No, he doesn't like it. Yeah,
He doesn't eat sand. He hates sand.
Right.
he hates it
Forget-
because he did
Ty-
eat it.
Ty- it's a
before, and he
typo.
said- yeah, he said,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's a typo. It's a typo.
He goes,
For
ever had
sure.
it? It's no good. Even with a salad, it's no good, Padme, I'll tell you. He's like set in the right way when they first get back together. He's like, I'm a grown up now, and nobody treats me good, like blabbing like a baby. I'm like, Jesus. He's like,
Oh yeah. Jackie, this is my cat. Here, let's see if she'll let me hold her. She may not let me.
I've been watching her through this
No?
window. She seems uncomfortable, Anakin.
want to say hello?
There he is.
It's my kitty. That's Daffy. My kitty.
And let's be fair,
He's-
George, half the stuff he
He's
made.
trying to get me to
made
come
her-
upstairs and feed her.
Yeah, George,
Yeah,
like
it's
he
about
pushed
that time.
technology.
It's
and
rough
everything
and
else. Yeah,
coarse. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Aw, thanks 30 days. Yeah, she's trying to get me to come upstairs and feed her more. She's very hungry. What's
On an
going on?
unrelated note, what I've watched, and I want to know if you guys have seen it really quick, is Mob Town. Or is it Mob Town or Mob Land with Tom Hardy?
Oh, I want to watch that. That
It's
looks
really
really
good. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Really good.
Pierce
I'm
Brosnan.
waiting,
Is that
I'm waiting for
is
the
that Guy
second part
Ritchie?
of the season come up.
Yes. It's have you been
Guy
watching it, bro?
Ritchie?
Yes.
Yeah, so you like it? Yeah, it's Guy Ritchie. It's got Helen Mirren in it, and she plays a
Oh,
real piece of work.
is she like the matriarch?
She is. She's Pierce Brosnan. He's aged so well. He's such a
Pierce
cool guy.
Brosnan?
Yeah.
Oh, he looks great.
I know.
And Heidi, another show for you because I love the costumes is 1,000 Blows.
Oh, I don't even know
That's
that.
a great show.
Sounds more like a video.
The
but
only
I'm
other
looking it up
show
on it.
I'm watching right now is The Studio, which is
Mhm.
so fun with Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
What's that about? Oh, that's the movie when we talked about it.
Yeah.
It's Apple TV. It's basically it's about like an executive who's running a studio, like a big studio in Hollywood, and it's like basically I said to Jack, it's basically Seth Rogen every episode smashing into a table, like he always has to smash into a table. But it's just basically he's based it off of experiences he has had working with Hollywood executives. So it's pretty funny.
This 1,000 Blows looks really good. It's got Erin Doherty. She was in The Crown. She played Princess. Yeah, she's a good Welsh actress.
She's fantastic in this, man.
Is she good?
It's like, wow. Yeah.
She was great in The Crown.
She was fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, I'm into that. Yeah, that Mobland, great. Pierce Brosnan just said his best. Tom Hardy doing what Tom Hardy does. Also, Rogue Heroes is all right. It's like by the guy that made Peaky Blinders. It's pretty good. It's got Elfie. It's got Theon Greyjoy. It's got a whole bunch of people. It's about the creation of the loosely factually based story based off of a few books about the first commandos in World War II of the SAS. So it's pretty cool.
I don't know if you can hear my cat. She's like rubbing her face against
That's
my
about
mic.
it for me. That's it. Yeah, Bobland. I'm glad you watch it, Ro. You guys talk about it all on your podcast?
No, it's
not really a show to talk about. Yeah,
it's not genre based. So.
It's really not.
Yeah, I don't know if it's costumey, but I love Guy Ritchie. Actually, I love The Gentleman, which is a series that he did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The pot one
about gentlemen. It's sort of like gentlemen. Like
weed
sort of
dealers,
aristocracy who they don't have their cash poor, so they grow pot to finance their I don't know, their business.
It's funny. I've seen some clips from it. Yeah, it's got Charlie Hunnam in it.
By the way, before we conclude, did you not find that Andor in many ways is really, really funny as well?
It is. It's got because it's
the humor is really good in it, I think.
Because it's stale, so it's funny like that. Like it's British.
Yeah.
And it's not over the top like Last Jedi.
No. Well, Star Wars is really funny. A lot of the stuff in Star Wars, I really thought was pretty funny.
Jar, yeah, hell yeah, so funny. He was so good.
Glitter, they were a piece of the craft world. Sorry, what was that about? Oh my god,
that's
so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dedra and Cyril are so funny.
Yeah.
So he's dead. I mean, he had to go. So she's not dead though. Yeah, she got 3 more episodes.
No.
I think my prediction is that they're going to, after all this is over, they're going to assign her to a new position as commander on the Death Star.
Darth Vader's gonna be like, what a cold biatch.
Yeah, I think I heard that. Now she must be in some kind of control room because we never see any women.
Yeah. That's George is a big misogynist. Just deal with it. It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But actually,
women were in charge though.
In this universe, there's really no there's no misogyny, really.
No.
And there's no racism. It seems like that's some of the things that are actually more progressive than our world.
George is liberal as hell. So George, definitely. So I mean, the women he had in Star Wars were all in a position of power, except for the slave, Twi'lek. She was not doing great, but
no, but that was just to show that Jabba the Hutt
was a bad guy.
Yeah, but they're like, no, there's no sexual stuff in my Star Wars. I'm like, whoa, is there no politics, no sexual? Are you sure? Or did you just not see it the first time, pub? So it is what it is. Yeah. So.
And
Who played the
Dappy's now
original
drinking out of my glass of water.
Mon Mothma was originally played by who? In the
Something Clarkson.
was she British?
So
Yeah.
in the original movie, it was a different actress.
In
Yeah,
the
in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, in Return of the Jedi, yes,
Yeah.
of course.
She's in the Phantom Menace, but they kind of cut.
She wasn't. You said she was born in 1977, didn't you?
She's born in 1977. Yes. This
So she's born the year that Star Wars was made.
Genevieve O'Reilly. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There is a kind of racism in Star Wars, but it's usually different.
It's against the droids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
And they do it a lot in the Mandalorian, like that whole droid. Like there's a story arc because he's a big old racist against them. He's all kicking them when they're carrying shit. He hates droids. So yeah, there's some racism against the droids, and they're like, you remember they go in the bar and all
fair.
that.
Yeah, Abby says the Empire doesn't employ non-human races, so
we just need an other. That's all the human race needs. It's just something.
Yeah.
Grand Admiral Thrawn was the first non-humanoid to become an officer in the Empire.
It's a trap guy?
He's a chiss.
The blue guy.
Yeah. Oh, the blue guy, yes.
Yeah.
He's from the out. There's this like
I keep forgetting you haven't seen Ahsoka.
Yeah, well, that's not going to tell you anyways. Don't worry. You need to actually you're mistaking that for just other stuff there, Ro. Because that's all in the lore. Like that's like he met Anakin Skywalker. Like he's they call it like out of the galaxy, like the unexplored region or whatever that Star Wars has that the Chiss come from, and they're like these feared race that like are trying to stop like these squids to come into the galaxy and fight, right? Or something.
He came over to our side to team up with the Empire. So when it was time for the Empire to help out, they would remember what Thrawn did.
Yes.
To help the Empire.
Well, I don't know if anybody has watched any behind the scenes about Starship Troopers, but I'm now kind of on the side of the bugs. Just for some perspective.
Why? Because you found out they're Nazis. That's so Heidi of you. You can't like them anymore. Come on. Don't be based. Come on. Yeah, exactly. That is a pretty good reason. The bugs, yeah.
Carolyn Blackiston is the actress that played Mon Mothma in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is hard to go to war against people that look just like you and believe just like you. You got to find something. You know what I mean? We'll figure out a way.
Well, how do you feel about wrapping things up?
We've been trying to wrap things up for the last 42 minutes.
Well, we were talking about we were expecting in the next episode, the next 3 episodes.
We can keep
I'm
wrapping
not really
up.
Sure. I'm waiting for the show to come out, and then I'll know. Yeah. I honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm assuming that by the way, the actress Felicity Jones. Do you think she'll be in it?
No, people would be pissed for some reason. I don't know why, but they would be. I feel they'd be angry.
Yeah, I don't think they need to be in her. I mean, obviously she's doing her thing, laying low.
Yeah.
There's a book called Rebel Rising. You can read that to see what Jen Erso and Saw Gerrera were doing.
Justin, are you petting an animal?
Years before.
No, why?
Well, my cat was here, but she's now left. She came.
My hands are above. My hands are above the counter. Okay.
Yeah, she drank out of my glass.
He's petting something.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Ro. Come on. Only fans.
Oh, hey! Before we go, I'm going to let you both show a couple of your toys.
No, I don't want to now.
Oh, come on.
Maybe mad. You're my feelings. Jerk.
This
is Boba Fett, and he was. Doesn't matter anymore, but. This is how he was supposed to be. This is they were going to make him like this, all white, and then they made the stormtroopers like that. And
then George Lucas said, "Oh, I love that Leia Lego.
Isn't she cute? I got it this summer.
That's a bigger Lego. That's a bigger Lego. Say that 10 times fast.
I don't think I can do that.
I want to show this because it's something my podcast host gave me for my birthday many years ago. It's Darth Vader played by me.
Oh my God, that's so cool. That
makes a lot of sense now that I found out you're a big old jerk.
It's funny. Like, I don't think I ever see you wearing glasses, though.
Oh, yeah.
Do you normally wear glasses?
Yeah.
When you're working?
I don't wear them on the stream because of the reflection if I have the
yeah. Okay, I guess I have seen you wear them.
My future. Hold on. My bad.
Well, I got my little
Han
Solo this summer. He's so cute. Look at him. Yeah. He's adorable.
Pretty cool.
Got like a
Pretty
He's
cool.
from the 70s.
I have my
Actually,
very
it'd be the
first
80s.
Stormtroopers
Your Stormtrooper's so good.
from 1978 because the toys weren't introduced until a year later.
Pretty cool.
I got my Leia pop figure here. She's so pretty. Actually, you can't tell, but her dress is kind of sparkly. She's got, look, there's her. I don't think her hair is dark enough, though. They should have done her hair a bit darker.
Mm-hmm. I do have
But
a
she's
whole
got-
bunch of Darth Vaders all over the place.
Oh, nice.
This is the comic book Al Williamson artist Darth Vader.
We're actually behind on that little 8mm camera I got back there. I got one of my mom crochets, and she makes these. I'm trying to get her to sell them, but it's a mouse. His name is Declan.
Can you see?
Yeah, she makes these things. This is Declan, and
My God, he's so cute.
Let me get some light on him.
Is it a mouse?
Yeah, it's a mouse, no tail.
Your mom
custom.
makes those?
Yeah, she makes these. Hold on, let me get some more light here. Sorry, I had my shades on. My future came about.
You're like
It was real bright.
you're like Cassian wearing his shades.
I don't got any light here, but yeah, this is little Declan. I love him. He's a good guy.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
Your mom made that.
Yeah, these are all custom. Like she makes them. None of them look the same.
Oh my gosh, she's so talented.
Takes a lot of time, but I think they're adorable. They're so I put them back there on the.
I don't know what this is, but this was some kind of candy dispenser my son got.
Oh yeah,
And I thought
have
it was
that
kind
one
of
right
cute,
here.
so I kept it. And I think the candy was in the head.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it came in the head, and then you kind of. But anyway, I kept it because I thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah.
I got a
Little
butter.
Darth Vader.
I just got this from Five Below. Oh, want to know what I got? What's pretty fucking sweet? Check this out.
Oh, actually, sorry, he makes a noise when
Look
you
at
press
this.
on.
Check this.
Oh,
Look at this thing on my neck.
okay.
This thing is badass.
Oh, this has gone. This has gone completely sideways.
Oh, look at this.
Totally.
This is how to hold your phone now. You don't
Yeah.
want to use your hands. Bam.
Oh,
Five
Wow.
Right there. Just bam. You look, and it's totally like normal too. Like nobody even. It's like totally indiscreet.
No one. What are you talking about? If you're walking down the street,
No, nobody would notice it. You just keep your sunglasses on, and you're just like you're fine. You're just on your phone. It's cool.
is it like for doing selfies? Oh my God, that's
Here
so
you
I
go,
don't know.
Jackie.
I got it for the piano for when I'm playing the piano and if I'm watching like a tutorial or something. Like I could put
So
it
how
on.
does it work? Is
You
it just a regular teapot?
Yeah.
And do
Ceramic.
you have a cup that goes with it?
I'm pretty sure I do somewhere.
What kind of tea do they have in the Star Wars universe?
It's just
Bro.
regular tea.
Is
It's
it
probably,
regular?
It's probably green.
It's probably green
tea.
yeah.
And then I got this. This is for anxiety, and then this is a little Sansa. I forget where she came from, but yeah,
Nice.
that's
Sansa
about it.
Star.
That's about it.
Is it Sansa?
Yeah, I have a little Sansa. It's like a little forget.
Yeah.
I just got this from Five Below too. This little. I'm not big on. I'd like Butters though. Butters is a good.
And I have a couple of my my little R2 Pez is he's looking a little bit yellow, but he's kind of cute. It's very vintage
Very
looking.
nice. Yeah.
Oh, those are the. I got
Nice.
all the Game of Thrones Pez things too.
Yeah, I got a couple of Pez's.
That's it. So
But I like the R2 one though because he's kind of
Yeah.
But if you guys
That
want to
looks
order a Declan,
That looks like it
$500.
hurt. Somebody gifted me a giant Pez, one of my podcast listeners.
I got back when I was still making videos. I
I
got
have
I got a whole
have a
package
Yoda.
of chocolate.
I have a Yoda one too. Oh my God! Look at that. It's a Death Star Pez.
Giant Death Star Pez. Yes.
Oh, and it came with all that candy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
That's
one of
so
those.
cool.
I'm one of those inbox collectors. I don't open my stuff
No, I don't blame you. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have. I opened these because
because you
I don't
wanted
know.
the
'Cause
candy.
I think they were my kids.
I like opening it and just throwing away the cash because I got a bunch of it. That's just what I do. Yeah.
Oh, is this? Is this the? This is a
That's
bigger,
like a big version of
bigger
mine.
version. Yeah.
Yeah, look, because look how small it
Yeah,
is compared
it's
to
the same.
yours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is the same. It's got a hole here. I think that's
Yeah.
where the candy came out.
Right. And
Maybe
was it-
it's not funny.
Oh yeah.
There was a little, and then if you press, do you have a little thing where you can press on it?
Yeah. I didn't realize it did that. So, I mean, I'm old school. I've been collecting since I was a kid. So I probably have a nice warehouse worth of Star Wars items.
Yeah, I'm actually looking to sell some.
That'll be your legacy row.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with what 30 days is. This is probably some tea made from some weird animal poo. Like, you know, there's that cat that like they take the cat's poo and they make it into tea. Have you heard that? Or coffee, actually.
You mean in real
life?
life?
I don't like any of that. I don't like that at all.
There's a special cat. It's like in the wild in like probably Africa.
A stray.
And it's a vegetarian. And then they take its poo and then they make it into like a coffee, and it's apparently
that's awful.
Wow.
Well, they do. I don't know.
I don't care. Okay, they do, but should they?
Oh my god! So LL's mom just opened his Game of Thrones Oreos.
I had those. Yeah.
Well, like if you're desperate, you know, I can see that happening.
Sure.
Yeah, Civic Hat Coffee. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, you want to get this though, and it's got a little magnetic thing, and nobody even notices. So hands free for the phone. Pretty cool.
Justin, like I swear to God, have you ever gone out walking with that?
Yeah, why not? And people look at me, and I'm like, oh, they probably are wondering where my phone's at. I'm like, it's right here. If you're worried about where it's at, got it right here. Yeah, no, it's awesome. This thing's awesome. I got it. I was like, why not walk it? Because like when you're playing, if I'm watching, I'm usually watching a tutorial for I'm playing piano, and I'm like, always put it on top. I'm like, fuck it. I put it right here. It's great. I can't see the keys, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is, Heidi. You pay me the big money, I'm gonna buy cool things. You see what I mean?
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I got paid by Heidi today. Got to go to Five Below. Yeah.
Well, we have to wrap things up here
All
because you know, like.
No, it's going good.
I think we're done with Andor, and it's amazing. So, Ro, any final thoughts? He's got a cute little R2 there.
No, Andor is the best Star Wars ever.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Justin, you don't agree though?
No, because it got bricks and screws in it. You know what I mean?
What does like bricks and screws mean? Like I know you said
Lucas, GL,
bricks and screws gate.
Yeah, so like I ain't down with that. You know what I mean?
Thanks you too. 30 days.
Yeah, it is what it is. But
That's
future's
right,
still
Jackie.
bright. Yeah, it is what it is. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know if the next 3 episodes will live up to.
I think they're going to.
Here.
You know, if they do, our little nerd minds will be blown.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
If they like somehow come back and say, "Oh, guess what? That was a dream sequence when they built that stuff in the prison, and there's no screws," I'll be like, "All right, Gilroy, you're back on my good side." So it is what it is. It is what it is. Waiting for the next season of Ahsoka to come out. Loved it. It's cool. I liked it. I liked when Anakin showed up. Made a lot of sense. Love that. I want more. What's it called?
Yeah, apparently Foundation's coming out in June, I think. So I'm going to be looking forward to that. So Justin, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself before we head out?
Just the future is bright. The video's Heidi's video might be Sunday instead of Saturday. I'm going to tell her on air so she can't get mad. It was projected for Saturday. It's looking like Sunday now. Okay, so she can't yell at me. We've got a White Lotus video coming out. She did a real good job on it. So, and I'm chopping it up real good.
My god, it took me forever. It took me like a month.
Good video though. Good video. White Lotus is one of those good shows. It's like a show that's those videos. Yeah, so it's gonna go good.
It's totally different too. It's totally different than the sci-fi fantasy. So it's sort of
it's fun. It's a fun switch up. It's only like like modern type of thing we really do, like for the most part.
Totally.
I mean, we do other stuff, but it's a big show. I like it.
But Justin, aside from that though, what else are you doing?
Just working. So this is what it is. Watching Andor, and keeping my hands clean above the counter. So.
What about you, Ro?
Well, we were talking about world building. I just recorded an episode with a guest, Nick from Nick Flicks Podcast. We talked about world building, when it's cool, when it works, and what happens when it doesn't. So we talked a little bit about that. We obviously have our Andor recap and discussion show on Saturday on YouTube at 7:00 Central, 8 Eastern. And if you are so inclined, head on over to any of the socials and look for Scariff Podcast and give us a follow and listen to our shenanigans as we shenanigate. Give us a follow on and a subscribe over on YouTube. I'd love to get those numbers up. I love talking nerdy stuff. Heidi, you are a regular guest from time to time, so that's always a lot of fun. And I
have all your socials, by the way, in the description below.
Excellent. Beautiful. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. All I know is that I saw the word Chicago. Since I live here, I went to go look to see what's going on over there. Yeah. Our new Pope is from here.
American Pope. Everybody's going
yes.
anti-America. Pope going,
Congratulations.
bam, America.
That's very
Coming back.
cool.
Dropping the microphone.
Yeah.
First American Pope.
Holy smokes, we have a new Pope.
Hell yeah.
See what I did there?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That was
because
really
the smoke
quick.
comes out of the.
Was that like was
get
that one of the quickest times they've selected a pope? It's only like 2 days or something.
I don't know.
Was it 2 days? Yeah, I think so.
Don't make it seem like it wasn't a hard. It was. I mean, when you got America in the running.
One guy it took like 3 years apparently.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he'll be a good pope. It seems.
I think that they can't get any worse, so we'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Trump will probably take.
He doesn't like
credit
Trump.
for him.
He doesn't like Trump.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, so as Justin was mentioning, we're going to be doing a White Lotus episode,
Video
recap
be out
of
Sunday,
season 3.
maybe Monday for you guys. Patreon.
Yeah,
members get
it was a
Sunday.
really good show. I think I liked season 2 a bit better, but I thought it was a really solid season. Walton Goggins is, he's really great. I love him. And I also have a video on The Bondsman, which is a show on Amazon. Actually, it's a 6 episode. It's very short, so it's only 6 half-hour episodes, and it's sort of like a bit of what do you call it? Supernatural meets. There's another show I was trying to compare it to, which
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I saw
Yes,
you uploaded
that's
a
it.
video, and I thought it was a video. I thought you were cheating on me. I go, what the hell?
No, it's an interview I did with the costume designer. And then I also have my wonderful interview. It's like a 2-hour interview with the costume designer from the Wheel of Time, Sharon Gillum. She is so lovely. And she's going to come back, and actually we're going to talk about season 2. And then she's working on a contemporary show. So she said she'd come back. Anyway, I'm making lots of new friends. By the way, if anybody hasn't seen Sinners, I highly recommend you see that.
I know, I want to see it.
I hear good
Have y'all
things
seen
about
it?
that. Yeah, I hear.
Oh,
no, I haven't seen it, but I hear good things.
It is. It's so good. If you're into, it's very kind of like From Dusk Till Dawn kind of feeling to it, but it's set in the like 1930s. So, Justin, Justin, did you watch what's that show called?
Teenage
something
Mutant Ninja
country.
Turtles.
I can't remember the name of the show. I've had too much to drink now. Sorry, guys.
I did,
But
Heidi. I liked it a lot.
Drunk Heidi is fun, Heidi.
No. Let me think about it. What's it called?
Is it a horror show? What are we looking for?
Yeah, it's a horror show. Bex and I did a coverage of it. Anyway, Lovecraft Country. That's it.
Lovecraft? No. I know about it. But yeah.
So Sinners is kind of like Lovecraft Country mixed with it's sort of like Southern Gothic.
Yeah, it's because it's in Louisiana. It's like the blues. And it looks really good.
Jiggity,
Yeah.
Scariff.
I'm showing Peter Griffin my latest Star Wars thrift item that I found.
So hey, Ro, do you know Peter? Because he's been in our circles for years. Do you know him?
I've seen the name besides the actual cartoon, but he says that he's from Chicago. So
that's
said
so cool.
hello, or he's in near Chicago.
So anyway, slightly tipsy Heidi is telling you that you should definitely see Sinners, and it also the costumes are done by Ruthie Carter, who worked with she was on, what do you call it? Forget it. I'm gonna forget, trying to recall things.
I'll find it. Don't worry. Let's see.
Anyway, Jackie says I have that Millennium Falcon. That's
cool.
so
Ruthie
cool.
Carter. She was. Let me look her. Hold on. I found her.
Wakanda.
Yeah, let's find.
Black Panther. That's it.
Yeah, and
so she's the costume designer of Black Panther, and I interviewed her for that show, so I'm hoping maybe I'd be able to interview her for Sinners. But anyways, an amazing gothic, vampire gothic horror movie.
Wow.
yeah, it looks good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so are we all done?
Mhm.
I should go to bed.
All right. I love you all. So
I love you guys thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with us.
Yeah,
I would love to
absolutely.
nerd out with you.
What a wonderful chat.
It was so fun.
I think
And the
it's
show's
fun.
great.
In there.
So
Yeah.
All right, we'll end it now.
Becky.
3.5 hours we've been talking.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, I do. So I have to go to bed. Mama
Well,
has to go to bed.
I'll
Thanks,
see you
Hello
guys
Darkwater. It was
soon,
really
I
fun
hope.
hanging out with you.
Yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 3. We're all saying bye. Love you all. Thanks for having us,
Bye.
Heidi. Good to meet you, Ro.
Bye.
And
Take care,
we
everybody.
are
We'll
done.
come back
See you-
together again soon.
See
That's
you
the
next
Scuttlebutt.
time.